All right, this update is brought to you by DraftKings Fantasy Sports. Thursday night football tonight kicks off week 7 between the Bucks and the Bills. 5:15 kickoff there. And tonight we have Lakers basketball on the station. Lakers take on the Suns. Devin Booker and Bradley Beal, though, will not be playing tonight for the Suns. That game tips off at 7 p.m. Of course, again, you can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS, because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details today.
San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? It's hour 1 of Jon and Jim. We've got a great show on tap for you here today. We are at the University Club, downtown San Diego. Spectacular views, highest point in the city, Jim. It's the first annual Top of the Key event. It's being put on by the Mesa Foundation. San Diego State men's basketball team being recognized for making it to a national championship game a year ago. We're going to catch up with Brian Dutcher at some point over the next couple of hours. We'll hear from Micah Parrish, potentially a Darion Trammell, Reese Waters, Jaden Ledee. So we're here for the next 3 hours. I've never really been downtown in a venue like this, Jim.
I thought you were going to stop and say, I've never really been downtown.
No, I've been downtown, but this venue is just unbelievable. And we're going to be here tonight. We're going to be with you for the next 3 hours, talking some Aztec hoops, of course, talking about the Padres managerial search as well. But this is just spectacular, isn't it?
Yeah, I was told that this is the highest point of the city. Like, we are at the highest point right now of San Diego. We have a telescope in our, I guess, like conference room, boardroom. Yeah, welcome to the law offices of Russell and Schaefer today, everybody. Right. So this is an amazing view. I know if you're watching us on YouTube, you can't fully see downtown because it's so bright out. But if you want to see where we're at, check us out on YouTube. Of course, listen on iHeartRadio app from wherever you are. But we can see everything. We can see Petco Park right down there. Got the convention center over there. Got the Coronado Bridge to the right of that. Spectacular view. This is going to be a spectacular event tonight, and I can't wait to talk to one person I'm really looking forward to talking to, especially after hearing what he said about why he came to San Diego, is Reese Waters.
Yeah, 100%.
He is the guy, to me, that is, I don't know if he's the key to the Aztecs basketball season, but he's replacing somebody that was a go-to scorer for the Aztecs, and a guy that down the stretch Dutch would call a lot of plays for to get to the basket, get a bucket when they need it the most. And I'm fascinated to see how he fits into this system, and being a guy that was a scorer at USD coming off the bench. I'm sure he's going to be in the starting lineup now, and how he's going to fit in the role here, and talking to him about, why he chose San Diego and his whole infatuation with San Diego State.
Does it feel like it's been a full offseason? I mean, the Aztecs play an exhibition game. They've already played a close scrimmage. They'll play an exhibition game on Monday at Viejas. They'll open a week from Monday. It doesn't feel like it was that long ago. Everyone was in Houston, obviously. We were all watching on television or at NRG Stadium. And all of a sudden, like, the next season is upon us. The expectations have never been higher. The excitement has never been higher. And this is going to be a really cool event. And we've talked to you about the Mesa Foundation, the role of name, image, and likeness right now in college basketball. Brian Dutcher was quoted by Mark Ziegler earlier in the week, I think, as saying, for San Diego State to continue to be relevant in college hoops, NIL is a big part of it.
Yeah.
This is an event being put on by the Mesa Foundation. I mean, we've been looking around here tonight. I mean, there's trophies everywhere. There's basketballs. There's
banners.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It is.
Yeah, it's awesome. And to your point, it has felt like a short off season because they were in the national championship.
That's a good point. They played until April.
So it's like an extra month almost, maybe a little more, that the Aztecs were still playing basketball, when normally in most years it's the off season, right? So same thing happened with the Padres last year when they made the NLCS. It felt like a super short off season.
Yeah, it's a good point.
This off season for the Padres is going to, I feel like it's going to go by quickly because there's so many questions and there's so many things that need to be done, and it's not going to be a boring off season now with the departure of Bob Melvin. But yeah, the Aztecs, it's felt like wow, they were just in the national championship game, and now the season's starting up again.
Dude, I love that analogy, though. Like a year ago with the Padres, the offseason was really short. You had a WBC, too, so they reported in February, and the winter meetings were in San Diego, so it just felt like it went lightning quick. I actually thought the Padres offseason this year was going to go slow because I didn't know if they were going to replace their manager or not. I mean, we didn't know, and their season was literally over like in August. I mean, as hard as that is to kind of stomach for Padres fans, I think a lot of people felt as if it was over in August. Now, they made a little bit of a run. It was interesting for a day or two, but we were talking about playoff odds at 1%. We were getting excited, and Padres fans were getting excited about playoff odds at 1%. But to your point, when you have a managerial search, and we went through this a couple of years ago when they hired Bob Melvin, there's a lot of excitement around that because it really, I mean, it really is an important role, obviously. The front-facing figure for your organization, like, is huge. From Jace Tingler to Bob Melvin, completely different. What's next? Is it going to be a Mike Schild? Are they going to go outside? Is it going to be a first-time manager like Ryan Flaherty? Like, there's all these questions, but it's a huge hire. And obviously, Padres fans are excited because there wasn't a lot of excitement based around 2023 and the season.
And that's the thing with the Padres. You're talking about the front-facing figurehead of the team. It's usually the manager, right? It's usually the Bob Melvins, the Bruce Bochy's. Now it's Torey Lovello. It's like a Bryce Harper with the Phillies. Rob Thompson, obviously, is, the manager there, but Dusty Baker's when he was with the Astros. Like, it's either a manager or a player. That's the front-facing figurehead of the team. And I feel like we talk about AJ Preller like way too much. Like, he feels like the front-facing figure of this franchise when
you don't even.
I don't know if that's a good thing. Like, I don't know if that's a good thing when your general manager is, one, talked about the most, and two, the front. Like, when people think of the Padres, it shouldn't be they think of AJ Preller first.
Was there a moment, just kind of comparing against San Diego State's last season to the Padres 2022, was there a moment in the Padres 2022 season when you felt as if they were going to win the World Series? Like, what was the high point? Winning game 2 against the Phillies in the NLCS and getting even in that series, and everyone was saying, well, they're coming back home and they'll have a chance to win that series. Like, I go back to San Diego State, and after they beat FAU in the manner in which they did it, at that point, you're thinking they can absolutely win a national championship. And they pulled to within 5 late on that. Was it Trammell? How am I forgetting this?
Who? When?
Who hit the 3 to make it a 5-point game with 5 minutes to play? Was it Darion?
It was Darion Trammell.
Yeah, so Darion hits that straight on 3, and for a moment, you're like, oh my gosh, San Diego State is going to do this again. Did you have a moment like that with the Padres in 2022? Like, was there a moment, maybe they beat the Dodgers, you're like, you know what? Padres might win the World Series.
When they won game 2 in San Francisco versus the Phillies.
No, in San Diego.
In San Diego, excuse me. In San Diego versus the Phillies. That to me was, okay, they're going to get at least 1 in Philadelphia, and they're going to be coming home for 6 and 7.
Yep.
And I felt pretty confident that they were going to go to the World Series then, because all we were talking about that, I remember it was a Friday. I believe it was a Friday. Sorry. When was it?
With the game 2?
Game 2, middle of the week, because it was an afternoon game.
Yep.
And all we were talking about was just get 1 in Philly. And I felt very confident because Musgrove was pitching and Darvish was going to be pitching as well. And frankly, they should have won game 5. And they should have won game 4. But that's when I felt the most confident, is after game 2 against the Phillies here in San Diego. And they came from behind to win. Blake Snell pitched okay, but it was a come from behind victory. Place was crazy. And that's when I felt like, oh, holy crap. Like, they're going to the World. They're going to the World Series.
Yeah, like when you're in the midst of a run, I guess my point is this: A, it's hard to follow up a run. I mean, look at the Padres 2023, how high they were in 2022. We thought for a moment there were a lot of people that thought the Padres were going to win a World Series. I mean, when you beat the Dodgers in the postseason and then you get the Phillies, you're hosting the Phillies in a 7-game series. There were a lot of people that thought the Padres were capable of getting to a World Series or winning one. And then San Diego State, when you beat Alabama, the top seed in the tournament, in the round of 16. And then the manner in which they beat Creighton, the manner in which they beat FAU on Lamont Shot. And then all of a sudden you're in the national championship game. Like, there were moments in both of those years where I felt as if, wow, this is actually going to happen. Now, we saw what happened on the other side for the Padres. San Diego State, we're going to be talking about it here tonight. We'll talk to Brian Dutcher coming up. We're at this unbelievable university club in downtown San Diego for this event here tonight, put on by the Mesa Foundation. Like, the encore can be a challenge. Like, they already have the target on their back, obviously. And you look at the schedule: Gonzaga, BYU, St. Mary's. There are others in there as well. They're always, target on their back in the Mountain West. Like, this is every year. San Diego State's always been at the top of the Mountain West for the better part of the last 25 years. But like, if you had a target previously, imagine what that target is looking like right now off of last year.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good problem to have.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd rather have the target on your back because you were winning than always being the person chasing. Now that's a good thing, I think, for the Aztecs, and they want that expectation level to be as high as possible, and that's what it is this year.
All right, so manager search. The last we heard here, and by the way, we need to hear from Ken Rosenthal. Do we want to do that here at 3:30?
Let's do that. Brent, do you have that? Because we can do it right now.
Yeah, if Brent has it, because Ken Rosenthal eviscerated.
Oh my gosh,
I couldn't believe it when you sent it to me. Jim sent this tweet to me earlier, and it was like a picture of Ken Rosenthal. I'm like, why'd you send me a picture of Ken Rosenthal? He's like, listen to the tweet. It's a video, you idiot. I'm like, oh, my bad.
Like, oh, sorry, you didn't mean to. I thought it was just a picture.
Yeah, I thought it was a picture. Anyway, Ken Rosenthal eviscerated the Padres here today. If you missed it, take a listen to this. This is from his podcast.
You just let your manager go to the Giants, a division rival, because your relationship with him was, guess what? Unfixable. You let him go without compensation after 2 seasons, the first of which ended with an appearance in the NLCS. And now you're going to be hiring your 6th manager in 10 years. 6th. I will tell you, folks, most GMs don't get nearly that many. So enough of the kumbaya in San Diego. It was not kumbaya in San Diego. And you know what? That story we wrote, Dennis and I, we should have gone even stronger.
Like you texted me, I think. Tell me how you really feel, Ken.
Even stronger. That to me, and I listened to Dennis today with Darren, that to me is a response to AJ's response towards all the articles saying that anonymous sources are pretty much BS and them trying to fake their way to potentially them both returning next year to say everything's fine. Everything's great. We talk 5 times a day. There's no problems here. Anonymous sources, screw. Like, who cares about anonymous sources? We don't put any credence into those. So you shouldn't either. Everything that was written on us is fake news. That was the type of feeling that AJ Preller portrayed the first Zoom conference after the end of the year. And then I had Kevin on when you were gone. And
he did? Oh, yeah, that's right.
And he said, look, that's BS. Everything that AJ said, according to the anonymous reports, is BS, and he knows it. And so I think that's Ken just kind of lashing back like, AJ, bro, do you realize how bad this all looks on you right now? Like, how bad you coming out and publicly saying that your manager's returning and that everything is fine. Right. Two weeks later, you allow permission to the Giants to interview him, and then he's hired the next day to be their manager. You have so much pie on your face. Stop talking. Actions speak louder than words, and your words right now are BS.
And to further that point, it's a really good point. What AJ said, was it yesterday? Was it yesterday that AJ spoke with the media, or was it 2 days ago?
It was yesterday, John.
I'm forgetting everything. But remember, AJ said yesterday, this is a highly coveted job. We're getting all types of external interest.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But that kind of speaks to, and then Ken a day later being like, you know what? What's happening in San Diego right now, like we kind of exposed in The Athletic over the parts of 2021.
But you're lucky we didn't.
In 2023.
Yeah.
Right. But like what is coming out of that organization, how accurate is it really? Like, again, they're trying to spin something, but what Ken Rosenthal, Dennis Lin, Kevin Acee, and others are saying is not what you're hearing out of the Padres organization.
Yeah. So it's interesting that he kind of went to that lengths and kind of said those things, but also it's not surprising. And it makes perfect sense because who believes AJ anymore right now? Nobody believes AJ. Whatever he says, it feels like it's white noise because it's the same regurgitated stuff all the time. And now it's kind of, we're wait and see mode. And I feel like the second the World Series ends, pretty quickly after that, we'll get a managerial decision. Maybe an off day in the World Series, there's a managerial decision because they want baseball to flow throughout the World Series. I don't know if they tell teams, hey, if you're going to make any moves, make sure you do it after the World Series. But yeah, I think right now it's down to just 2 guys, and they can tell you that there's potential of looking outside the organization and this person might get interviewed. But I don't know. I would be shocked if it's not Flaherty or Schilt. personally.
I feel the same way, and I've said this repeatedly, whether it's Jon and Jim or on the wrap-up show. I think it's a mistake not to necessarily hire Mike Schill or Ryan Flaherty, but to not do real due diligence, to actually find the best candidate for the organization. Now, you brought up a good point. I mean, how do you really know? This is at the end of the day AJ Preller's decision, and you could argue he's gotten it wrong before. So the best candidate for me and you might not be AJ's best candidate. And there's something about going with the one you know as opposed to the one you don't. Mm-hmm. But with all that being said, with this roster in the here and now, you need to get this right. We don't know how much longer Juan Soto is going to be here. We don't even know if he's going to be here in 2024. We don't know how much longer Manny Machado is going to play at this level in his prime. Same thing with Xander Bogaerts. Like there's going to be a drop at some point with those players in their 30s. They didn't have good years in 2023, if we're being honest. So, like, this is a hire you need to get right. We said it all the time. I'm sure we said it with Andy Green. I know we said it with Jace Tingler. I know we said it with Bob Melvin. I'll say it again. Like, you can't miss here if you're AJ Preller, and I don't know if you're getting it right just by choosing from two people.
619 number. Text us 70470. Start your message with team. Says, did Jim just say we talk about AJ Preller too much?
It's basically made Jim's career, right? Talking about AJ Preller.
We talk about AJ Preller a lot because, rightfully so, this organization and franchise does a lot of things that you question year in and year out. And who's the leader? AJ. So, yeah, that's why we talk about AJ Preller so much. And you don't always want to talk about drama with the GM. You know how exhausting that is? It's every single day. Trust me. We do it. It's all the time, 24/7, exhaustion to talk about the same thing over and over again. Dysfunction, people stabbing people in the back, horrible roster construction.
Not literally.
Yeah, not literally, John.
We don't think.
But all this drama filled with this organization year in and year out. Tired of it.
Can I say this? When Ken Rosenthal said, hey, the Padres are going to hire a sixth manager in the last 10 years under AJ Preller.
Yeah, everyone has a different manager.
Whatever, but that's fine. Okay, 5, 6, whatever.
7, 8.
And whatever. Then I think about, we're at this event honoring San Diego State's 2023 team that was in the national championship.
Yeah,
let's run through the coaches, the head men's basketball coaches at San Diego State since previous century, 1999.
Okay,
can
ready?
You do it? Can you do it all? Can you count them all?
Okay. Well, Brian Dutcher.
Sure, Brian Dutcher is one of them.
Current coach,
and he's been on the staff this entire run. And I think Steve Fisher. So you've had a 25-year. I heard J.D. Wicker say something on this recently. Like, when Dutcher was hired as the head coach, he said, "I don't want to change the culture. I'm part of the culture.
Yeah,
we already have a culture here. What is the Padres culture? Who even determines it? Certainly it's not Manny Machado. He says the culture doesn't matter. AJ Preller, it's like he goes with the wind. I mean, he's had all types of different managers and staffs and theories on how to win. And
30-plus coaches in and out of here since 2015.
So you've got one program that has been uber successful doing it one way with this, this one manner in which to win. And it's worked out beautifully in San Diego. And then you have AJ Preller's way, which has been a complete roller coaster, more downs than ups. There's been an up in there.
Yeah.
2022. And you just wonder, like, how's he determining what is necessary to get this thing on track? And not just on track. You've made this point before. Staying on track.
Yeah.
Not just good for a half season or 100 games or even 160. Can they be good for the next couple of years? Can they find the person to lead this organization to win consistently? Because they haven't over the last 10 years.
I don't particularly trust him to make the right call, but
what other choice do we have?
We don't have any other choice. And whoever he hires, I hope that person honestly works out. Like, I honestly hope whoever the next manager is, it works out. Because if it doesn't work out, John, then guess what's going to happen? Theoretically, this should happen. I don't know if it would, because AJ's done a lot to get fired, and he's still there. But if it doesn't work out, then you're looking at another manager. You're looking at a GM, a whole new front office, and it's going to be not a rebuild, but it's going to be a big culture shock to everybody involved with the Padres.
Interesting use of words. I mean, the culture shock is, like, when you think about the Padres clubhouse right now, forget about the manager and you think about the dynamics at play. Machado, Soto, Bogaerts, Tatis. Can you imagine navigating that from a manager perspective, no matter who you are?
That's why this is so important. That's why I thought Bob was the right guy, because he was going to navigate that, manage that, and he didn't. I'm not saying that it's all his fault.
No, I agree.
He couldn't because of the things that were going on in the front office and him and then the clubhouse dynamics. So if Bob Melvin can't do it, I just don't know who can. I just hope whoever it is can kind of like climb that mountain and overcome all of these obstacles that are like landmines in this organization and not have a blow up and not have disaster or disappointment or drama or whatever the case may be. Like today, I don't know if you listened to Dennis on with Darren. He mentioned something towards the end of the interview that Darren was like, "Are you kidding me?" And I picked up on the same thing. Is when Dennis said about the two candidates right now inside the organization, Schilt and Flaherty, that they've already been, I guess, briefed or they've been asked questions during Bob Melvin's tenure as, hey, if you were the manager, what would you do in this situation? Like
that's weird.
Like they've already been essentially interviewing on the job while Bob Melvin was still here. Think about that.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's your organization.
That's your culture.
That's your culture.
That's weird. That's very weird. All right, we are broadcasting. We're just going to start here with the University Club downtown San Diego. It is the first annual sold-out Top of the Key event put on by the Mesa Foundation. San Diego State's 2023 basketball team that made a national championship game is going to receive rings here tonight. They're being honored this evening. We'll be with you until 6 p.m. We'll set up the show on the other side. We have great guests joining us here today. We've got a giveaway today as well. You're going to want to be with us until 6 p.m. Do not go anywhere. We're just getting started. A ton to get into. It's Jon and Jim. Stay with us. All right, on the other side, this Padres managerial search, we're going to share some names that maybe are or are not being discussed right now that are not inside the Padres organization, plus tons of Aztecs basketball guests for you coming up. Stay with us on Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by DraftKings Fantasy Sports. Thursday Night Football Week 7 kicks off tonight, 5:15 kickoff between the Buccaneers and the Buffalo Bills. And tonight we have Lakers basketball right here on San Diego Sports 760 as the Lakers take on the Suns. 7 p.m. tip-off there. Bradley Beal and Devin Booker are both out tonight for the Suns. So much for the load management rule there in the NBA. Check out what DraftKings have to offer this season with Code Sports, because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is all yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details today.
All right, Jon and Jim back with you. We are at the top of the University Club, downtown San Diego, the first annual Top of the Key event. It's sold out. It's being put on by the Mesa Foundation. We've talked about the importance of name, image, and likeness. We're going to have tons of Aztec guests with us here today, including Brian Dutcher, Jaden Ledee. I actually went back and watched this about 2 hours ago because, of course, I did, Jim.
Of course you did, yeah. What'd you watch?
Before Lamont shot. Let me just say this. Dutcher, Ledee, either Darion Trammell or Micah Parrish. We will have Reese Waters join us, and AG now on the staff. Aguek Arop will join us as well.
Let me guess what you're going to say.
Yeah.
Lamont doesn't get that shot unless Jaden hits the shot from top of the key.
But here's the thing. It's the shot before Jaden shot. So,
okay.
So listen to this. Okay. So Jaden hits that 15-footer.
Yeah.
To pull them within one, they get a stop. Lamont hits the buzzer beater. We know the rest. Before Jaden hit that jumper, he drove on like the 7-2 center of FAU, and he scored over top of him. He scored the previous 2 buckets, both trailing by 3 in like the final 3 minutes to pull the Aztecs to within 1, and then Lamont, of course, took care of the rest. But he had the last 2 buckets before Lamont were Jaden Ledee. That's who they were going to there down the stretch.
Yeah, he was go-to guy. He's going to be another go-to guy for them this season.
No doubt.
Him and Lamont especially.
No doubt. Okay, so I think we know of 3 candidates. I think 2 are maybe more realistic than the third. We're talking about Ryan Flaherty and Mike Schilt. You could say Schilt and Flaherty. We've heard about Ruben Niebla, the pitching coach, highly regarded pitching coach. It's rare to see a pitching coach as a manager.
Yep.
But it has happened. John Farrell comes to mind. There are others. Now, from outside the organization, you give me one, I'll give you one. There's been some names that have been thrown out there. Then we can go maybe a little bit outside the box as well. But if they're looking outside, where would you potentially look, whether it's theoretical or not?
Okay, the first name I would throw out there is Skip Schumacher. Still has 1 year left of his deal in Miami.
It was only a 2-year deal?
It was only a 2-year deal.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a 2-year deal. And, of course, Kim Ng is not there anymore, so maybe Skip is looking to get out.
Oh, I didn't know he only had 1 year left on his deal.
And it's the Marlins, so, like, come on. It's not like a big thing there, right? That's a name that I think I personally would love if Skip Schumacher was here. I just would not want him to be working with AJ. Like, it's crazy how we have to look at these managers and go, can they work? Can that working relationship last year in San Diego?
Because they worked together for years.
And he kind of torched the organization on his way out a little bit with not on his way out, but when he was in Miami this past year, if you remember, he went on Dan Le Batard's show and he was talking about, I was part of a coaching staff that was very toxic. And a lot of people were like behind the scenes backstabbing each other. And it was only a part of 2 coaching staffs. And it's easy to use common sense here and rule out the other one, which was the St. Louis Cardinals.
So maybe that makes it kind of unlikely because AJ and Skip go back a long way. I mean, they spent years together in San Diego, and then he wasn't even interviewed. He was not even interviewed. Do I have that right? After 2021, he was not interviewed for the job.
He was not interviewed for the job. We talked about him actually on our wrap-up show, and then
we had him on.
We had him on because he actually reached out to me.
Because he had watched the show, right?
Yeah, he reached out to me, and he was like, thanks for the kind words, is putting me out there as a potential candidate. I would love to talk to you guys about this stuff. And, seeing what he did in Miami, you're like, that'd be cool to have.
He did an amazing job. He turned the thing around. They didn't have a high payroll. Kim Ng gets a lot of credit. Yeah. Remember him like berating the groundskeeper in New York the final week of the season because they need to get
not have gone the first.
I agree with that.
Now he's not a first-year manager anymore. He has experience.
Playoff manager.
And he's a playoff manager.
He's a playoff manager. Now, a name that Kyle Glazer mentioned that you've seen on social media as well, that we probably brought up yesterday on Jon and Jim or maybe on the wrap-up show, is a really intriguing name to me, and it is Benji Gill, who managed Team Mexico in the WBC, has ties, obviously, with Southern California. He's been with Anaheim. And he's highly regarded, right? So, and he's bilingual.
Yep.
And there's, it's something to at least consider when you're looking outside the organization. Do you have previous manager experience? Well, he does because he's managed Team Mexico. Again, he is bilingual, which I think is of value in baseball in general, but particularly with this Padres team as well. And I mean, I don't really have anything beyond that other than the fact that Kyle Glazer said they'd be making a mistake to not bring him in. He'd be the perfect candidate for the job. I think he said he's still relatively young, right? He's in his 40s. He's 50, around 50 years of age. He's an infield coach right now with the Angels and has been managing with Team Mexico. Kyle Glazer spoke very highly of him. We'll see if maybe Benji Gill is in Anaheim to get an interview during this process.
So that's another name. Another Joe Espada.
Bench coach.
He's been a name that's been mentioned a lot when coaching searches happen. Like, that's the manager in waiting right there. Again, first-time manager, I don't know if you can go down the path. And there's always those mystery candidates, right? Like those mystery candidates that like no one thought of, and that's what you hear a lot. Like, it's AJ Preller. So the caveat there is always bound to do something that no one thinks of and go outside the box. And so there is a mystery element potentially to this. And I see who you're looking at right now. Potentially could be that. Didn't see that one coming.
Here's an amazing name because he's been working with coaching. He's a former Padre, 40 years of age. To be a first-time manager, but Will Venable is a name that is intriguing because, again, ties to the Rangers, ties to Bochy, ties to the Padres, highly respected young managerial candidate. If you want to go old, people aren't like this, but it was discussed a couple of years ago. and his relationship with Manny Machado. Again, that's the veteran, old, chiseled, major league manager. I'd be very surprised by it.
It's so hard because when you name guys like Venable, Gill,
Ryan Flaherty.
In any other situation, you'd be like, I can with that. I can like that. Not here, man. Not here. It's because it's like, and it's also because of the clubhouse. You can't again afford and Rich pretty much into the Lions den. Like, hey, beat the Wolves another first time to manage a guy like Manny, his personality when it's like down all the time. Sander in there now. Fernando, like it just wouldn't be fair. I feel like that to give this team a first. And now maybe if you had a guy that everyone respected, it'd be different. But I don't know if I could take that risk.
Imagine, by the way, great point here in the chat. Someone on YouTube, like imagine Showalter with like Musgrove. That'd just be flat out.
Oh yeah, no freaking way. Not with this clubhouse.
But again, what we're saying then is we're basically ruling out most candidates other than Mike Schilt just by going through it. Yeah. Like, okay, Skip Schumacher's under contract. He's got a relationship with AJ Preller. I find it more unlikely than likely. Okay. Then you've got everyone else who mentioned his first time. Managers like Buck Showalter, well, they've been around for 25 years. That's not happening. And then you got Mike Schilt, who's been on staff for a couple of years, is a 3+ year manager, took the Cardinals to the postseason 3 times, is fiery, if nothing else. We'll see how that works with this clubhouse. But it's like you look around and you're like, well, Schilt's checking boxes. I don't know if he's checking all boxes, but he's checking boxes other potential candidates aren't checking with a roster like San Diego's with this hundreds of millions of dollars payroll and this unique dynamic clubhouse with all these type A personalities, which is not easy for Will Venable.
Yeah.
Clarity or anything, actually, to be honest.
And the one thing that I've seen, that it's kind of a good one, is we would agree that we think that in hearing things and reading things, like it's kind of hard to work with AJ Preller, right? It's hard to go outside that circle and go and try to mesh with AJ. The thing about Ryan Flaherty and Mike Schilt, they've both been here for a couple of years. So they've both worked with AJ Preller. Mm-hmm. So do I still think it's like the greatest thing in the world if they went out and hired Schilt or Flaherty? But at least there's like a familiarity there a little bit, and I guess maybe that would help. I mean, Bob said, he never met or talked to AJ before he got interviewed and hired.
Huge win for AJ.
Massive win for AJ.
For the Padres.
And you have Ryan Flaherty and Mike Schilt been here under the last couple of years. Ryan Flaherty longer than that.
Right.
And they've made it a point to block any managerial interview processes with Ryan Flaherty in the past.
All right, more names to consider, plus some of your suggestions off our text line, 70470. You can start your message with team. We'll get to that on the other side. Plus, we're going to be joined by a lot of Aztecs here today. San Diego State being celebrated for the remarkable 2023 run to the national championship game. We are at the University Club. This is in downtown San Diego. It's the first annual and sold out top of the key event. It's being put on by the Mesa Foundation. We've talked about the importance of name, image, and likeness. Brian Dutcher, Jaden Ledee, Reese Waters, Aguek Arop, and more will join us between now and 6 p.m. So Jon and Jim, we're talking Padres managerial search. We're getting you ready for Aztecs basketball. It is 10 days away, folks. 10 days away from the opener. Do not go anywhere. Jon and Jim, stay with us.
Thanks for the super chat, SJL. Says, way to elevate your game, gentlemen.
So yes. Why don't you say what you're wearing, Jim? What are you wearing tonight?
This is Dolce.
What is it really, Men's Warehouse?
It's Men's Warehouse.
Okay, now where's your sports coat?
It's over there.
It's over there?
I'm not going to wear it during the show.
I am.
I know you are because you want to look
okay,
dapper.
So let me tell you, this is a sports coat.
Should I put it on?
Yeah, put it on. This sports coat I think is from Brooks Brothers. And this shirt I think is from Brooks Brothers as well. Although I can't confirm it. Jim might have to confirm, but I think this is from Brooks Brothers. I'm wearing Viore pants like Jim is probably. Oh, Jim actually might not be.
Wearing Dockers.
Okay. But yeah, so we're at this this event tonight for San Diego State basketball. It's an amazing event. It's going to be a spectacular event. They're getting their Final Four rings. Oh, I like that. I like that. I like that. Sports gun. It's very nice.
Oh, okay.
On screen, it kind of looks like it's just navy, but it's not. It's got like a.
It's like a little pattern. Very patterny. Very patterny. I can't wear this during the show.
Okay. Well,
actually, I could. I technically could. Whatever. Who cares?
Thanks, SJL Stevens. We appreciate the supers, guys. If you want to support the channel, you can click the $ below the chat box. Please subscribe, by the way, if you are here. We got Aztec guests for you coming up. We're talking Padres, so stay with us. Brent. All right, your suggestions on this managerial search to 70470. Started with Team Plus, Brian Dutcher, Jaden Ledee, Reese Waters, Aguek Arop, and more from the University Club will join us. Stay with us on Jon and Jim. All right, Jon and Jim back with you. We are at the University Club, high atop San Diego. It is the first annual Top of the Key event put on by the Mesa Foundation. San Diego State's basketball team will be recognized. They're getting Final Four rings here tonight. We'll be with you. Brian Dutcher is going to join us, Jaden Ledee, and others.
I decided to put my sports coat on. I'm going to keep it on. It's a little chilly now.
Okay.
I feel it, but
well, if you want to see Jim in a sports coat, join us on YouTube. Search for Jon and Jim 760. You'll see me in a sports coat as well.
Hey, Darnay, I own a collared shirt. Proof of collared shirt.
Dude, Brent just told us something unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
One of the most remarkable things I've ever heard in my life. Brent has never in his life, per his memory, I don't know if this happened when he was like a 2-year-old. Brent has told us that never in his life has he ever worn either a tie or a sports coat.
Mind blown.
In his life.
Yep.
Brent, would you like to comment?
No, it's true.
Is there a scenario in which you would?
I don't know. I guess not that I can think of off the top of my head.
I got a scenario for you, Brent. Like, I'm inviting you to my wedding, so would that be an occasion that you would think about wearing a tie to?
I'll think about it. I probably won't. But I'll think about it.
It's a maybe.
That's amazing.
You don't have to wear a tie. It's okay. But there would not be any other scenario. Like, if someone forced you to wear a tie, would you wear one?
Sure. If I was forced, but I've never been in a situation where I was forced to have to wear one.
Right. There's no black tie in radio for like radio producers. They don't do that.
Yeah, no, it doesn't do that.
Okay. A couple of things.
None of my court appearances required ties. So
there you go.
That's a good thing. It's a good thing. Because usually if they require ties, you're in trouble. You're in big trouble.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay. People are reacting to managerial possibilities on the text line. We're going to get to those in a moment. Keep them coming. 70470. Start it with team. Before we do that, Jim. So CBS puts out a list of 101, the top 101 college basketball players for the upcoming season.
Okay.
Okay.
Is this the question you were like,
yes,
dude, I'm asking you a question. And I'm going to blow your mind.
I'm going to blow your mind. The top 101. Don't look at my screen, by the way. Because let me just see the way it's phrased before you look. College basketball rankings, the top 101 best players entering the season. How many of those top 101 are Aztecs, and who is on that list?
So you said I would blow your mind. So
no, it's not. No, not blow. I just said I had a really interesting question. I think.
Okay.
It's not mind blowing. It's not like
I'll go.
Wearing a tie.
I'll go with 2. I'll say Ledee and Lamont.
That's what most people would say, right? Seriously, right? Ledee off last year.
Oh, there's 0. Is there 0?
There is one. It's Darion Trammell, who's ranked 72nd on the list. Huh. So no Lamont, no Jaden. Darion is on the list. He's ranked 72nd on the list. So the top 101 players in the nation per CBS heading into the year, there's just one Aztec on that list, even though they were returning 4 players from that national championship game. By the way, other Mountain West players on the list, Isaiah Stevens, Colorado State guard, 46th. Tyson Degenhart, forward for Boise, 69th. Jamal Mashburn Jr., 87th for New Mexico. Want to get to this text line here? Some managerial suggestions coming off the text line from our listeners. 70470. Start your message with team.
All right. So there's a couple here that you're like, immediately no. Immediately no.
Okay. Who's that?
Joe Girardi.
Yeah, I don't see that. I really don't.
Phil Nevin.
I don't see it either.
I'm not opposed to Phil Nevin, but could you imagine the clash between personalities of Phil Nevin and AJ Preller?
Right. And now he's managed what? Is it been 2 years now in Anaheim?
2 years in Anaheim.
2 years, but they haven't won. I don't know.
Yeah. I've seen Phil Nevin a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
Ruben Niebla is another one.
Unconventional because he's a pitching coach.
Yeah. People are saying, hey, I think 619 number says I think AJ should hire Kim Ng before he hires a manager. I doubt that will happen. 714 number says my dark horse is Carlos Beltran.
Yeah.
Interesting name.
Buck is on this list.
Buck Showalter is another name on the text line. Benji Gill.
Yep.
So, the 76 number says Benji Gill, probably a little too outspoken, but players love him.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're all kind of
in agreement
around the same names.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when, if he hires somebody like remember when Jay Stingler was hired, it was like, never heard of this guy before.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here. I'm like, please do not hire somebody that no one's ever heard of before. At least.
Yeah. Don't have to be someone that
route.
you need to sell us on again.
Like, don't go the route of Joe Smith, right? Like, who the hell is that person? Because that's just going to make things way more difficult, and you're already on thin ice as I see it right now. I do think I do think that it's between Mike Schilt and Ryan Flaherty. Did you get a text from Darren today, by the way?
Yes, because we were supposed to submit to Darren who we think will be the next Padres manager because he's going to put it in an envelope, and when the manager is hired, he'll open the envelope, right? He did this 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was. I was still on Darren's show at the time, and we did it. And my guess at the time,
yeah,
because we had no clue. It was a truly like no clue situation.
Mm-hmm.
I think Marty had Ron Washington, Darren had Don Mattingly.
Okay.
And I picked Mark Loretta.
Who do you know who I picked? Did I pick Skip Schumacher by chance?
Back then?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I forget, but I think I may have.
You were part of it too? Oh, that's right, you were. Yeah,
yeah.
Darren collected a bunch of.
Yeah, well, he did from everyone at the time extra.
He was trying to get like Kevin to submit a name.
Yeah, I don't think Kevin did it, right?
I don't think he did it either.
By the way, did you see? I mean, we've all said this. We've been saying this on radio for months. The UT wrote about the idea that, like, AJ, you're past time on the GM. You have to go high. Not to get rid of him. That's the easiest conversation in the world. But this idea that go hire someone, take some stuff off your plate. You just told the media a day ago that you had too much going on. You took your eye off the ball. You weren't communicating with the major league team. You didn't have focus with the major league team. You need a day in and day out guy or gal, to be running the major league operation. So why won't you do that? But here's the question. I'll spin that around. It's not about AJ and will he do it or not. It's about, who's going to want to do it? Who's going to want to work in that role for AJ Preller? And again, I don't think Preller really wants to do it either, but you're not getting the pick of the litter candidate, I wouldn't think. Does Billy Epler want to be the guy reporting to AJ Preller? Does Kim Ng want to be reporting to AJ Preller? That's the issue.
Bro, AJ said he's going to be more involved.
He did say that.
So why hire somebody to take away jobs from AJ? He's literally going to be trying to do everything next year. At least that's what he's portraying.
Can you do that? Like, he's already doing everything, man. He already doesn't sleep, and it hasn't worked out.
I don't know.
Take something off your plate for the betterment of the organization.
Do you see that really
Good
happening?
luck?
Yeah. Do you
really
really see that happening?
Not really.
I don't either.
All right, coming up next, again, we're at the University Club here, downtown San Diego, the first annual Top of the Key event put on by the Mesa Foundation. Jaden Ledee expected to join us within the next handful of minutes, at some point in the next 10 minutes or so, at that breakout NCAA tournament and 2023 season. We'll be joined by Brian Dutcher over the next couple of hours, Reese Waters, the SC transfer, Aguek Arop, who starred last year for the Aztecs as well. So stay with us. We're just getting started. We're talking Padres as well. Hour 2, Jon and Jim next.
All right, this update is brought to you by DraftKings. Week 7 of the NFL season kicks off tonight with Thursday Night Football between the Buccaneers and the Buffalo Bills. And tonight, NBA action. You can listen right here on San Diego Sports 760 as the Lakers take on the Suns. 7 p.m. tip-off there. The Suns, they're trying to get fined, I think, because they're not playing Devin Booker or Bradley Beal tonight. They're really testing out the new NBA's load management rule. Check out what DraftKings has to offer. Couldn't get the thing up. Check out what that's what she. Never mind. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details today.
Getting you all set for that drive home. Let's just start the show. Here's Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? It is hour 2 of Jon and Jim. Again, we are coming to you live tonight from the University Club. This is high atop downtown San Diego, Symphony Towers. It is the first annual Top of the Key event. It's sold out. It's being put on by the Mesa Foundation, San Diego State's 2023 National Championship team that was a National Championship game finalist. San Diego State being honored here tonight. There will be a ring ceremony for the Aztecs reaching the Final Four. We'll be joined over the next couple of hours by Brian Dutcher, Jaden Ledee, Reese Waters, the SC transfer, Aguek Arop, and more. So we're excited to be here for the next couple of hours. Looking forward to tonight's event. This is one of the coolest settings, Jim, in the city of San Diego. For those of you watching on YouTube, you get a little bit of a feel for where we are, but we're on the 34th floor with panoramic views of downtown San Diego. It's incredible.
We're at the highest point of the city, higher than any building in the city, so we can see everything. I just looked out the window over here.
Yeah.
And you can see all the way down to the border. You can see all the way to El Cajon. It's amazing. A beautiful, gorgeous day out. So sight lines are perfect.
Real quick, because again, we're talking obviously Padres managerial search, which is now underway. AJ confirming yesterday. It actually started yesterday. We'll see when we get.
It's probably started before yesterday,
right?
Which is another BS comment for him, but
true.
Okay, sure.
So we're talking Padres managerial search. We're going to be talking a lot of Aztec basketball. You mentioned there during your update, Bills Bucks tonight, Thursday Night Football. Pretty good game. Buffalo 4-3, coming off a weird loss, right, to the Patriots. The Bills are 4-3, coming off a weird loss to the Patriots.
They should be better than 4-3.
They should. Bucks are 3-3 so far this year. This is one of those games like if you're the Bills at 4-3 and you're home, you kind of have to win tonight, don't you? From Buffalo's perspective, you cannot lose this game at home.
No, but the Buccaneers are, I feel like, a team that could vie for potentially a wild card spot. But the Bills have way bigger aspirations. Like they're looking at Super Bowl aspirations, and
they're 4-3.
They're 4-3. Now it's still very early in a season.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they lose tonight, 4-4, the season's not over. You can win 8 straight, and you're like, oh my God, we're 12-4. Like it's just, it's football season now. It used to feel different when a team went 0 and started the season like 0-2, but now because of how long it feels. Like last year, the Niners won 13 games, and at one point in the season, they were like under 500 because they won.
Right, they were like 2-3, right?
Yeah,
they traded for Christian McCaffrey, maybe. Wasn't it something like that?
Yeah,
they got him. They lost the game, and they were under 500.
Yeah, and they became the second seed, and they won like 9 straight to end their season.
Right. Speaking of your Niners, you think, okay, in San Diego, if the Padres yesterday had acquired Bob Melvin, that's all anyone would talk about because we don't have the NFL. We don't have the NBA.
Oh, sorry.
If the Padres had acquired
yeah.
Then that's obviously the lead story for days.
Yeah.
And it's a big story. Now, in the Bay Area, it's a deal. Sure, the Giants got Bob Melvin. Okay, but you have a Niners team. I don't know if reeling is the right word. They've lost 2 straight games, and there's now this kind of controversy about what's going on defensively. They allow 400-plus yards, 450-plus yards against the Vikings, 400 passing yards essentially to Kirk Cousins, and now what? Kyle Shanahan's calling out his defensive coordinator?
It's a little bit of a, you thought the ride was going to be smooth this year. You have now encountered turbulence.
Mm-hmm.
The Brock Purdy concussion. He did practice limited today, which is, if you're the Niners, it's a good sign. Debo has a fracture in his shoulder. Trent Williams has been out with a high ankle sprain. And now you got Kyle Shanahan, like literally calling out his defensive coordinator, saying, yeah, I just don't like those calls. What he did, like he knows publicly he's saying those things. So it's a little bit of rocky ground. And if they play the Bengals this weekend, not an easy task. Like I would say Joe Burrow is probably better than Kirk Cousins. And so now you're in for a bigger test this weekend. And you thought, the Niners started the season 5-0, like, oh, they're going to just go to like 14-3 or 14, like they're going to have one of the best records in the league. Are they going to have a season where they lose 1 or 2 games? Now you're looking at like they're in a little bit of a fight.
I feel like most, maybe not all 32 of the teams, but even the really good teams, to your point, Niners a year ago struggled a bit early. Almost all the teams deal with adversity. Maybe not Kansas City here recently because they've been so
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, they've been so good. But
Travis
even like
Kelce.
Even Philadelphia, you look at their schedule coming up. Yeah, they beat Miami at home, but they had a weird loss to the Jets. Nothing is like you said. It felt like when the Niners were 5-0, you're like, wow, this could be smooth sailing. Maybe there's a 15-2 regular season. Maybe they're top seed. Maybe they're the favorite to get to a Super. There's like one team a year that has a year like that, and all the other teams, there's always something: injuries, right? Adversity, and it's how do you deal with it? Because all these teams are going to deal with it.
They all are, unless you're the Eagles and you decide that you're going to go back to back, like amazing regular seasons with no adversity, and ride your wave to the
Eagles
Super Bowl.
Are the Chiefs.
Eagles and the Chiefs.
Yeah,
once again.
Yep.
So we'll see. It's but now it's interesting because everybody thought, oh, it's going to be the Niners and Eagles. Now you're looking at like Niners got problems.
Right.
Eagles, they're winning. I don't know if they're as dominant as they were last year. Jalen Hurts, if you look at his number, like Jalen Hurts hasn't had this great season so far. It's just they are really good in the trenches, and that matters the most. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the NFC pans out because you thought it was just going to be Niners, Eagles, and maybe a couple other teams sneak in.
Are you still a believer? Because remember, I was critical of the Lions on that opener for Thursday night, and everyone said I was like the worst person ever. But are we a believer at all in the Lions who are coming off a loss? That was their second loss, right? Are they 5-2?
They're 5-2.
Are they?
They got whopped. They got destroyed in Baltimore. I still am a believer in the Lions to be a contender for their division and have a home game in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're going to be the number 1 seed in the NFC, but I think they can win their division.
Wait, you're saying Detroit?
Detroit.
Yeah. And their schedule, when you look at their schedule compared to like a Philadelphia, it's way easier.
Right. Yeah. So I'm looking at the Lions to win their division, be a top 4 team, and host a team in the playoffs and have a home game.
Right.
I don't know if they're going to go 14-3. Right.
Yeah,
I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, probably not. All right. We are going to get to the wrap coming up in a moment. We are going to be joined by Brian Dutcher and Jaden Ledee and Reese Waters and Aguek Arop at some point here over the next couple of hours. We are at the University Club downtown San Diego. It is the first annual Top of the Key event. It's being put on by the Mesa Foundation. Players and this team being recognized, they'll receive rings for reaching the national championship game in 2023. And of course, we're covering this Padres managerial search. We can literally, Jim, from where we are here, look inside Petco Park. Like we've got a vantage point to inside of Petco Park. Have you seen anyone coming or going here today?
You know what I just thought of?
No.
So we have a literal telescope right next to us.
That goes like right into Petco Park?
That goes right. You know what we're doing at the break? I'm going to go in that telescope and see if I can see if anybody's walking in and out of Petco to get an interview with AJ for the next managerial job. Because we know he's at Petco. Because every time that he has done a press conference, he's zooming from his office. So he's there. So maybe we just got to look and just, stake out. Like, hey, we need to stake out here at the top of this hotel and look out to Petco Park to see who's going in and who's going out to be the next manager of the Padres.
I don't hate it. I kind
of love it, actually.
We
can do like a 24-hour wrap-up show stream.
It's not a terrible idea. It really isn't. All right, a lot to get to here from downtown San Diego right now. Let's get to this.
Is tonight a must-win game for the Bills?
Yes, it is. It's the end-all be-all to their season. No, it's a much-needed win. I always say they're not must-win games; they're much-needed win games. Like you would love to win this game because if you don't, you're now 4-4, and a lot of questions start creeping in, and you're like, "Hey guys, is the coach a problem here? Like, are we going to have to start like wondering about that? And is Josh Allen really gonna be the guy to lead the team to a Super Bowl? Like, so yeah, it's a much needed win night for the Bills.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's not like the season ends if they lose here tonight, but it is hard to imagine that if they take on 4 or 5 losses this early, that they're not going to have to go through multiple road playoff games potentially, which makes it so tricky, specifically in the AFC. So I think if they want to finish with one of those, top couple of seeds, get a home playoff game or 2, then you probably do need to win the game. Are they eliminated with a loss? No, they'd be 4-4 overall. But if you want to get to a Super Bowl potentially this year, you're going to need to beat the Bucs at home if you're Buffalo. All right, let's get to the next question.
Who do you think is the best team in the NFC?
It's probably the Eagles.
Let's say that a little louder.
Yeah, say that louder.
It's probably the Eagles.
Okay.
I mean, you can't really dispute it. They're the number 1 seed in the NFC as of right now. They're 6-1. They just beat the Dolphins. They don't have any major injuries. They're relatively healthy. The best offensive line in football, one of the best defensive lines in football. I guess it's the Eagles.
The only thing I'll say, and we've said it a lot, and I do think it matters, is this schedule is so daunting. And yeah, they've been good against it to this point, but you've got the next couple of weeks. Look at this: Cowboys, Chiefs, Bills, Niners, Cowboys, Seahawks.
It's a gauntlet.
So are they going to have the top seed in the NFC going through that? I mean, it's possible.
If they get through that and they still only have 1 or 2 losses, then it's like
they're not going to have 1 loss.
Crap.
There's no way they get through that with 1 loss. There's no way they're going to Kansas City and they're hosting the Niners and they're playing Dallas twice and they don't lose. Right?
That's what I'm saying is if they get through that and they don't lose,
then they're the best team in the NFL.
Then they're easily the best team in the NFL. And I hate saying that, but that's what it is.
Aaron likes you saying that.
She loves me saying that.
She really does.
Yeah.
It's going to be part of your it's going to be part of your vows.
Yeah, I have to say fly Eagles fly.
Exactly.
At least one time.
Let's get to our next question.
Do you think the Padres should hire a general manager?
I think here's the thing. Yes, I do. But also, no, I don't because of AJ. If it wasn't AJ, I'd be like, yes, hire a general manager. But because it's AJ, I think that would just cause more problems than help, honestly.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think that most organizations in this spot should hire a general manager. It's just tricky with the Padres because of the reputation on Preller and also the way in which he operates an organization. So I don't think it will happen. They talked about it in 2021 after the year didn't happen. He mentioned it again after 2023. So far, hasn't happened. If I was in charge, I think it would make a lot of sense. If I was ownership, I would think it would make a lot of sense. But I'm not holding my breath that a general manager is coming to work for AJ Preller at any point in the near future. Let's get to our final question.
All right, guys, the World Series starts tomorrow at 5:00. How excited are you for this World Series matchup?
Honestly, I'm kind of excited for it.
I am too.
I don't think it's going to get these massive ratings that Fox would want. I know the Game 7 Phillies D-backs was the highest rated game since
that was 9 or 10 million people watched that game.
Yeah,
that surprised me. It's a huge number.
I think also because you had the Philly aspect to it,
and it was a Tuesday, not a Monday.
Tuesday night, there was nothing else competing with it, which is smart. But I'm excited for it. I can't wait to see Tommy Pham in the World Series and Austin. Every time the Rangers do something good, they pan to the Rangers dugout and you see Austin Hedges screaming his head off, looking like a fool. I'm excited for it. I'm rooting for the Rangers, obviously. I think Boch wins another World Series. It'd be a very cool moment for him, and just put that extra stamp on his Hall of Fame credentials into Cooperstown. But I just hope it's a good series. I hope it's not quick, and I hope we get it prolonged to at least 6.
I agree with you. Rangers heavy favorites. They're -170 to win the series. I am intrigued by the series. I do think it's good for baseball. I don't only have to see the Yankees or the Red Sox or the Dodgers or the Astros in a series like this. And by the way, you have huge markets. Everyone's like, oh, the markets. You have Dallas, which is a top I don't know, 6 market. You have Phoenix, which is a top 5 market. You have now, they're not the best baseball markets historically, right?
No.
They haven't won at the highest level, but they are good enough markets where these aren't the smallest markets in the sport. I'm with you. I hope it goes 6. The championship series were really compelling.
Yeah.
You got the 7th game in both of the series. Now, were they all-time classic 7th games? No, they weren't. But I want to see a 6-game series or more. I'm rooting for the Rangers as well. You don't want to see a team in the NL West win the World Series if you're the Padres.
No,
That's the
you
last
don't.
thing you want to see.
Yeah, the last thing you want to see is Tommy Pham hoisting up that World Series trophy this year.
If
again,
that means no more songs from RJ Choppy or whatever his name is, then go
Dude, could you believe
Diamondbacks.
that? It didn't backfire on him.
Yet.
I am shocked.
Yeah.
It actually not yet, you're right, but that was a ALCS like driven song.
It's okay. It was so awful it'll carry over.
Potentially.
If they do win, then RJ Choppy looks like a genius.
Right.
But if they don't, then yeah, you're probably right. It's going to go there. Real quick, I saw something today that, speaking of the World Series, that I thought was like, why are you posting? Like, why are you doing this? This is weird.
Okay.
The Diamondbacks posted that games 3, 4, and 5 of the World Series are officially sold out.
Yeah, like you don't post that. The expectation is you sold out the World Series. It's the World Series.
Right. Why are we saying, guess what? We have a sellout. That should be just a given. It's the World Series. It's the NLCS. You should have sellouts. I don't know if they had sellouts in the NLCS, but it was a little weird when you saw, guess what, guys? We have a great big announcement. Games 3, 4, and 5 are officially sold out. Yeah, it's the freaking World Series.
Yeah, that's weird. Like you just had me go to StubHub to see like what tickets are selling for this year's World Series, whether the game's in Arlington, which is a brand new stadium. I would think they'd be going for a lot. And then you have Phoenix. So in Arlington right now, a pair of tickets you can't get in for less than $305.
Honestly, not bad. Not bad.
That's standing.
I get it, but that's not the worst thing in the world. I was expecting like 800.
Phoenix to get into Game 3, $554.
So they're not selling tickets for $17 anymore?
No, they're not. $554, and this is like the last row in the last section. So, like to your point, it's the World Series. Should we be talking about games being so? How can you not sell out? When's the last not sold out World Series game? Tampa?
No,
even Tampa's selling out World Series games.
Even Tampa's selling out games. I mean, everybody's selling out games in the World Series. Of course it is, even if it's a corporate thing.
Right.
Like, even if the crowd is more corporate than not, you're still selling out.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to have a lot of Aztec guests for you over the next 90 minutes of the show. San Diego State, presumably, a lot of these players are going to be arriving here over the next couple of moments. So we're going to be joined by...
They actually are here.
They're here right now. We're going to be joined by Jaden Ledee and Brian Dutcher and a number of players. They're going to join us here throughout the course of the next 90 minutes or so. San Diego State is in the building. We're at the University Club here, downtown San Diego. It is the top of the key event, and they're going to honor this 2023 basketball team that made it all the way to the national championship game. They're getting rings here tonight. The vantage point is spectacular, Jim, with the sun beginning to set. Like, I would love to, move in, potentially. I don't know if they're offering that to me.
Well, here's the thing, John. You would need to have 37 YouTube channels, all just
I like that,
balling in money, because I don't think you could afford this. Sorry.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate that. Richard, what do you say? I'm looking at Richard with San Diego State. Should I take a break here and we get some people on a handful of minutes? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to break a couple of minutes early, and then we're going to be joined by some San Diego State players and or coaches over the next 90 minutes here from the University Club. It's going to be a great night, sold-out event, downtown San Diego. We're with you until 6 p.m. Do not go anywhere. It's Jon and Jim. All right, coming up next from the University Club, Lamont Butler, San Diego State men's basketball. They're being honored tonight for that run to the national championship game. One of the heroes, Lamont Butler, joins us next.
All right, this update is brought to you by DraftKings Fantasy Sports. NFL Week 7 kicks off tonight between the Buccaneers and the Bills. And tonight we have Lakers basketball on San Diego Sports 760 as the Lakers take on the Phoenix Suns. Tonight for the Suns, Devin Booker and Bradley Beal are both out.
All right, back with you here from the University Club, downtown San Diego. We told you tonight's a special night for San Diego State basketball. We were not kidding. It is a ring ceremony night put on by the Mesa Foundation. We are thrilled to once again be joined by one of the stars, obviously, for San Diego State a season ago, Lamont Butler, back with us on Jon and Jim. Lamont, it's great to see you. Looking great here tonight. Thanks for hopping on.
Great to see you, too. So it's going to be an awesome event.
Well, we were just talking off air. Obviously, what happened last year was so special, but then to kind of get recognized for it, there's going to be a banner going up inside Viejas Arena for last year's national championship team. You're getting rings for reaching the national championship game. How special are those for players, having that kind of etched in stone for forever?
It's really special. I mean, it's like a direct reward of your hard work, throughout the whole off season and, throughout the whole season. I feel like we got better throughout the year, and we get to get rewarded with this, the ring and the banner, and we love it. So it's going to be great.
And we were talking off air, like seeing the banner for the first time that's going to be unveiled on opening night. You have not seen the rings yet.
Mm-hmm.
When you see those types of things, right? Like, what are the emotions that go through your head? Like, wow, we actually did that. That's amazing.
That's the exact emotion that we figure like wow, like this is really happening. Really just a dream come true, and we're very fortunate that we were able to be in this position to get this recognition and love.
All right, Lamont Butler with us right now. Jon and Jim, San Diego 760. Again, the Aztecs being honored tonight, the first annual Top of the Key event here in downtown San Diego at the University Club. Lamont, as a player, are you one to look back at all? Like, are you looking back to what happened last year, or is your focus solely on what's to come now moving forward?
My focus now is really on this next season. Last year was last year. Season's approaching soon, about a week away, 2 weeks away. So we're full force on that. And tonight is probably gonna be like the last night that we really celebrate everything. And after that, it's just trying to do it again.
Yeah, I was going to ask, there's been a lot of celebrations, rightfully so, this offseason for you guys. And again, tonight, the mindset that you have to okay, we got to turn this page here pretty quickly, because last year was awesome. Last year was great, but we still have a season coming up here and we still have very lofty goals. Has that been, I'm not saying difficult for you because of all the things that have been happening, but the mindset that you guys have talked about, hey guys, we cannot look at last season and rest on our laurels here. We got to move on.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the leaders on our team and the coaches, we do a great job of, mentioning that a lot. Like last year was last year. We have to find our own identity. We have to win our own games. And, every day we've been playing very hungry against each other, really competing at a high level. So I think everybody's got that message and ready to go forth with it.
Tell us about the closed-door scrimmage. We were only able to see a box score, obviously, when you guys took on Arizona State a couple of days ago at Viejas Arena. How did you think that your team performed, and what did you learn about yourself as you get ready for the year?
Closed-door scrimmage was fun.
Yeah.
Versus ASU, finally getting to play against somebody else, as we've been, battling and beating up each other all year.
Yeah.
So, it was really fun. They jumped on us early, and then we came back, SDSU fashion, always coming back.
Right.
We came back. It was a very close game, but I feel like we learned a lot about each other, about ourselves, the grit that we have together. And we just know it's going to be a battle all year, and we just can't wait.
What do you feel like you need to work on here leading up to this season? Going through practices and the closed-door scrimmage, what's one thing that you guys are looking at? Hey, we need to work more on that.
Just being more connected on the floor, throughout the whole game, throughout the whole season. It's going to be times where we're not always hitting shots or we're not always playing the best defense, but the more connected that we are, it's going to be the less mistakes that we make, throughout games and throughout the year.
How long does it take, as a player to kind of mesh with that year's roster? You've gone through this now 4 times, and each year you have a different team. So, does it take a game? Does it take more? What's the process to kind of get fully comfortable with your new teammates?
It kind of depends. It kind of just depends how everything gels. I mean, of course, when you're winning, it's easier to gel together quicker. And so, I mean, I've been fortunate to be on teams that won a lot, so we were able to, kind of get that connection quick. So, hopefully this year we can do the same. And I feel like we have a really good connection. We already have it already, throughout the, just after practices, in practices. So I feel like we'll be good.
And real quick before we let you go here to the festivities, Aguek Arop is back on the coaching side of the things, and I know he's been a huge part of this program since he's been here. What does that mean for you, being with Aguek as long as you have, to see him in the building with you guys every single day still?
I love it. AG is my guy. He's just another great friend to have on staff, and he's really just putting his wisdom to us and all the new guys, and we just love having him around, and I'm glad he didn't leave us. So
yeah. I don't know if Dutch, I think, joked about the idea that he can go to the bench and look at AG, but I don't think he's got any eligibility, unfortunately.
Unfortunately not. No.
Lamont, congratulations on everything. We're excited for you and your teammates and getting honored here tonight and for the upcoming season. We appreciate you taking a few minutes for us here today, and enjoy the evening and the upcoming year.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
All right,
Thanks,
that
man.
is Lamont Butler. We're going to get his head coach in here, Brian Dutcher, who's at the University
Line
Club
change.
tonight. Yeah, a little bit of a line change
Yeah.
here. Lamont, thank you again, and congratulations. So Brian Dutcher is going to join us here in a moment. Where are you, Jim, on the screen? There, you're somewhere.
It's okay.
Oh, there you are.
We'll figure it out.
And again, I mean, you think back on last year, and that's all we want to talk about. But people like Brian Dutcher and Lamont, well, they're tasked with getting ready for the upcoming season. So let's get Brian Dutcher in here, joining us on Jon and Jim once again. We saw him a couple of weeks ago in Las Vegas, Nevada, getting ready for the year. Back with us on Jon and Jim. Dutch, it's great to see you. You're looking great. How about this vantage point for this event?
I've been up here before, but I've been to all the different places, and this is spectacular. What a backdrop. The city of San Diego, looking at the Coronado Bridge and talking Aztec basketball. That's pretty good stuff.
Dutch, tell us about a night like tonight to honor last year's team. And also, you've been quoted here recently, and you've talked about it with us, the importance of name, image, and likeness for San Diego State. I think you've used the word relevant. For San Diego State to continue to be relevant in this national basketball landscape, NIL is a big part of that. An event like this is beneficial for NIL as well. just for our listeners, what role is NIL playing right now for San Diego State basketball?
It's critical for our future. And I understand some people don't like a pay-for-play model. It's college athletics, but it's like any business, all your listeners are in. They change the regulations and you either quit or you adapt. And so I'm not a huge fan of all of it. I think the players are deserving of making money on their name, image, and likeness. I understand that we're not going to have what some of the blue bloods have, like Carolinas, Kentucky's, Kansas's. Those guys are always going to have unlimited amount of money to do things like this. But we have to have something to stay relevant. And events like this are critical to us remaining where we are as a program, and that's on the upper echelon of college athletics.
And coming here tonight, I know the banner is in the other room. Is it the first time you've seen it?
Yeah, first time I saw it. It was spectacular.
What was like your initial reaction to seeing that banner for the first time?
I love seeing it up close, but I'm really going to love it when they hang it in the rafters at Viejas Arena. That's when it really hit home.
Yeah, and then you're obviously wearing the ring there. Is that's the Final Four ring, right?
This is the ring that the Final Four itself gives us.
Okay.
And then the ring we're getting tonight is something that we designed that'll honor both conference titles, the regular season, the postseason conference title, and then the run to the Final Four. So that ring will have a special meaning to all of us when we get to see it for the first time.
And have you seen that ring?
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I mean, there was a day I was young enough where I helped design things like that, but age has passed me by and they don't think I'm that creative anymore.
Well, it's nice to be surprised sometimes, right?
Yes, it is.
Like, hey, we accomplished something for this program, and it's nice to see everything for the first time, right? It's surprising.
These rings get bigger and bigger, but I don't mind because I never wear them anyway. I just put them in a showcase. So I put this one on tonight because I thought this event was worth putting one on for. So I put on this year's Final Four ring, and it's very sharp.
Brian Dutcher with us right now on Jon and Jim. So, Dutch, you're one of the few coaches in the country with the unique perspective of having gone to Final Fours and then had the opportunity to coach again the next season and know what it takes to put together another year that's comparable to getting to a Final Four. You did it with Michigan, obviously, 3 Final Fours in 5 years. Is that right? 89, 92,
yeah, 89, and then twice with a Fab Five. So blessings.
Yeah. So when you have a team that's made a Final Four and then you have another team coming off the Final Four, you have some of that experience. What is the messaging for this year off of last year? As in, is last year's run relevant to this year's team, or how do you use last year as motivation for this year?
Yeah, obviously experience is everything. We've won because we've been older, and we have 4 pieces back from that played a lot of minutes in that Final Four run. So we'll rely on that experience, and guys like Miles Bird and Elijah Saunders that were on last year's team saw what it was, saw the work that went into it. So that's 6 players returning. DeMarshe Johnson on that team. These are guys that didn't get minutes, but were part of the program, part of the process. And now they'll get their chance to step on the floor and produce for San Diego State University and hopefully put us in a position to make a run this year in the tournament.
And Lamont talked about tonight feels like, okay, this is kind of it. As far as looking back at last year, we need to focus on moving forward to this upcoming season. Is that something that you not struggle with, but you focus on, hey guys, we cannot keep looking at hey, we met a national championship game last year, instead of, hey, we need to focus on this season because we have a lot of lofty goals for this year as well?
Yeah, you have to, there's always an eye on the past. We have to carry ourselves with the swagger that we went to a Final Four.
Yeah.
But no, that puts a target on our back. And you look at last year's tournament, the top 3 seeds, none of them made it. So that's the 12 best teams in the country, according to the bracketologists, to the guys that putting the tournament together. Top 12 didn't make it. And so it doesn't matter where you're seated. You have to be playing your best basketball at the end of the year. You got to get a little lucky. And so you have to, main thing is putting yourselves into the tournament.
Yeah.
So that's my focus. I want to do whatever we have to do. That's why we scheduled competitively in the non-conference to give ourselves an opportunity to build a resume. If that doesn't happen, we'll have the conference and the conference tournament to play ourselves into the field. And that's the number one thing, is to play yourself into the field.
What did you think of your team's performance when you got to see him in the closed-door scrimmage against ASU this past weekend?
Obviously not a very good first half. And Arizona State made a lot of shots. We were down 40-20 at half, down 20 at half. But then we had the grit and the resolve, which you want to see in a team. You want to see a team that doesn't give in, that has a little fight to it. And then we fought back. I think took the lead with 8 minutes ago, 6 minutes ago. So 20 points really didn't matter. We fought ourselves back into the game, and then it went down to the last minute. They made a shot, we missed a shot, and that was basketball. So usually all these games are going to be close. Who's going to win close games? And that's what I want to start to see. Are we going to put ourselves in a position and then close out close games?
So you do a closed door, and then you typically do an exhibition like you'll have Monday night against San Marcos. You're playing in front of fans inside Viejas Arena. What is that like for your players that haven't been a part of that atmosphere? How important is it to have that opportunity before the real thing starts about a week later?
Yeah, we want to play in front of our own fans with the lights on, have a game routine where the clock's running, the refs show up, we get there at a certain time. So it's like a dress rehearsal. So I like that type of a thing. So when we step on the floor against Fullerton, we've already been through warm-ups and all the things. For the new guys, the veterans know what it is, but the new guys to get into that situation where they get a game feel in an exhibition game.
And, banner night, it's going to be a lot, right? There's going to be a lot of things happening on banner night. I remember back when you guys had the 30-2 season, the year after when you raised the banner, I think it was New Mexico. I forget what team you guys played, but it was a little bit of a letdown game.
No, you're talking about when they were 26-0.
Oh, sorry, 26-0. Yes, they raised the banner. You guys raised the banner. And then the next year, you lost. How is it going to be this season to make sure we can't let banner night and ring night be a distraction here for us?
Oh, I'm going to call Fullerton and tell them to take it easy. It'll be what it's going to be.
Yeah,
I know we're going to be good, but are we going to be good at the start of the year? We have a challenging schedule. But the thing with Aztec basketball, we always get better as the year goes on. I'd like to come out of the gates and be playing our best basketball. But as much as I want that to happen, sometimes it doesn't. So maybe we'll be out of the gates quick and be 26-0 like that one team, or maybe we'll stumble and find ourselves as the season goes on. It's a journey every year, and that's the beauty of college athletics. You don't have your franchise player in your top 5 for 6-8 years in the NBA, and you build on that core group. We're flipping players every 3 or 4 years. We got a new group, and we have a new group this year that we'll see what they're going to be as the season goes on, see how they are when they get hit in the mouth and things aren't easy. And that's the beauty of coaching. I'm an expert in this age group, 17 to 21 or 22. I've been dealing with this age group my whole life. And so I'll find a way to get the best out of them, hopefully.
I remember when you said after the opener last year, you talked to us post-game, you said it's the beginning of a long journey. And you weren't kidding. Last year, ending up all the way in April at the Final Four at Energy Stadium in Houston. We're excited for this upcoming year. Dutch, congratulations on tonight, all your successes. You've done an amazing job, obviously, here with San Diego State. We're excited for this 2023-24 season.
So are we. We're ready to go.
Yeah, I bet you are.
Brian Dutcher, head coach of the Aztecs. We appreciate him joining us here from the University Club, downtown San Diego. We'll take a time out. Much more downtown. We're honoring San Diego State basketball here tonight. We'll be joined by Reese Waters coming up. Stay with us on Jon and Jim. Hey guys, it's Schaefer. We've been telling you about San Diego, recently named the most expensive city in the country, which means you might need some cash to pay off those credit card bills or do a home improvement. I'm so excited to introduce you to the newest, fastest, easiest way to access the equity in your home. Loan Pronto is here with their revolutionary Express Equity line of credit. It's an amazing program. You can get cash out of your home in as fast as 5 days. You can leave your 3% mortgage intact. Loan Pronto can pull $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 out of your record high home value. That's money you can use to pay off those credit cards at those crazy rates of 25% or more, or use the money to do a home improvement. Maybe you're adding solar panels. 9 out of 10 homeowners will not need an appraisal. The fact is this: rates are too high to move to a new home, but you can still use your existing equity by converting it into cash. You can be credit card debt free. It's your money. You just need an easy way to get it. Call now. See how easy it is to get a lot of cash in about 5 days with Loan Pronto's Express Equity line of credit. 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com. That's 619-207-4336. That's 619-207-4336. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval. All right, coming up next hour, your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Vets Aid. This is at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater, November 12th. Make sure you're there as Joe Walsh presents an all-star lineup with Jeff Lynn's ELO, The War on Drugs, The Flaming Lips, special guest Stephen Stills, and more. More information and tickets at Ticketmaster.com. Keep listening for your chance to win. We'll give those tickets away coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. John and Jim with you. We're at the University Club, downtown San Diego. It is the first annual Top of the Key event. This is sold out. It's presented by or put on by the Mesa Foundation. San Diego State receiving their rings, Final Four rings from last year. They haven't yet seen them. Brian Dutcher telling us that. Lamont Butler saying that as well. So an exciting night for the Aztecs and their supporters here at this sold-out event tonight.
And Lamont, like he said, it's all about rings and banners.
Right.
It's all about rings and banners. And it's cool that they get these – accolades for making the national championship game and going to the Final Four. Because any other sport, if whoever loses the World Series this year, I don't think they're going to be celebrating next season. Hey, we made the World Series. Now it's professional sports, so it's a little different. College football, when they make the national championship game, is TCU? Well, maybe TCU is doing that, but like a team like Georgia or Alabama, they're not like, oh, we made the national championship game last year. Basketball, every team, doesn't matter who you are, Duke, North Carolina, you make the Final Four, those are celebrated.
Oh, yeah.
National championship game appearances, those are celebrated. It's different than any other sport, and that's why this is so cool, because it's like once you make a Final Four, that's what people talk about, like, hey, did you make the Final Four? Did you make the Final Four? Not did you make the national championship game, it's did you make the Final Four?
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. And I'll be honest with you. Yeah, you're right. I mean, typically, if you lose the World Series, you're not like, okay, wow, we lost. But you did win a pennant.
For the Padres.
Yeah, I mean, the Padres have won 2 pennants. And that is all to be celebrated because that's all there is to celebrate, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, there is no World Series. So, like, you hold on to the 1984 World Series team. You hold on to the 1998 World Series team.
My point is, I think the Final Four is viewed in such high regard.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
getting to a Final Four is a reason to celebrate alone, obviously, because you could go forever without getting to a Final Four.
Like blue blood schools celebrate how many Final Four appearances they have.
Right. UNC, Kentucky, Kansas. Yep.
Yeah. You don't, they're not, yes, obviously they're obviously celebrating national championships.
Sure.
But the first thing you think is how many Final Fours have you made? Right? Michigan State. Hey, Izzo, how many Final Fours have you made?
Mm-hmm.
Not that he's won 2 or 3 national championships. It's Final Fours.
Yeah.
Which is the coolest part is now San Diego State is a Final Four level program.
Brian Dutcher has coached in 4. Now, 3 as an assistant, 89, 92, 93. 2 of those years with the Fab Five. 89, Glen Rice, Michigan. They won at the Kingdome against Seton Hall. That was a national championship. They lost in championship games, right, in 92 and 93 to UNC and Duke. And then he's gotten to another national championship game with San Diego State. If you've been in his office, which, by the way, I hadn't until recently, and he was surprised by that. When I sat down,
why did he be surprised?
He said, "Wait, you haven't been in my office before?" He had just assumed. I mean, I've been in the men's basketball offices, but I'm not typically in Dutch's office.
You haven't snuck in lately?
I've been in the offices, but not his office. But anyway, in his office is a nice little like keepsake area where he's got, as he talked about today, he's got the 89 Final Four ring, he's got the 92 Final Four ring, he's got the 93 Final Four ring, and guess what's going in there tomorrow? I would guess. The 2023 Final Four ring. So it's an amazing keepsake. It's something that's recognized for forever. And for San Diego State fans, everyone's ecstatic. Yeah. Everyone is ecstatic based on what happened last year. And everyone is, the expectations could not be higher.
So I did not know because Dutch was wearing the Final Four ring.
Right.
That was given to them by the NCAA.
Correct. All 4 teams get a Final Four ring from the NCAA.
See, I didn't know that. I thought that was like an Aztec thing. And now this tonight,
this is an Aztec
thing.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. Have you seen the ring? You've seen it. Huh?
No comment.
You've seen the ring.
No comment.
You've totally seen the ring.
No comment. No comment. No comment. We are going to see it, though, coming up tonight. I do know that. Okay, so in the 5 o'clock hour, again, we're at the University Club here downtown. We are expected to be joined by both Reese Waters and Aguek Arop and potentially others as well here tonight. We had Lamont Butler with us. We had Brian Dutcher with us. If you've missed anything today, by the way, you can always find us on YouTube. Search for Jon and Jim 760. You can always find us on the free iHeartRadio app. Search for Jon and Jim. All of our interviews and hours are podcasted there. And if you're listening to us via the podcast, if you wouldn't mind leaving a review of Jon and Jim, we do appreciate it. But if you're, a majority of our listeners are obviously listening on the radio day in and day out. But if you miss anything, find us on the iHeartRadio app. If you miss something, find us on YouTube. Everything is available to be, consumed in another way if you miss it live. So, again, we are here atop Symphony Towers. What a night it is. We're right by Petco Park. We're keeping our eye on this managerial search.
Literally, we have a telescope that looks right into Petco Park. I think I might take a picture of it. I'll send it out.
Do it.
It's literally right into Petco Park.
Yes, we're going to do that.
Yeah.
And it's just a spectacular night. And I've never seen San Diego from this vantage point because I've never been here, and this is the highest point in San Diego. So I've never seen it like this. You got the sun setting, you've got Coronado, you've got the water, you've got the sun. It's just spectacular. It's just a spectacular night. And we'll be celebrating San Diego State basketball here again from the University Club. It is the top of the key Aztec ring ceremony. Coming up, Reese Waters will join us, Aguek Arop, Jaden Ledee, and more. Plus, we are giving away a pair of tickets to see the Vets Aid concert at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. This is November 12th. Tickets are available, again, at livenation.com. So be listening because in the 5 o'clock hour, we're giving away 2 free tickets to that Vets Aid concert at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater on November 12th. And again, tickets are available at livenation.com. So whether it's Reese Waters or Aguek Arop or Jaden Ledee, we've got plenty of Aztec guests for you in the final hour of Jon and Jim. Do not go anywhere. Stay with us. Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760.
All right, this update is brought to you by DraftKings Fantasy Sports. NFL Week 7 kicks off tonight between the Buccaneers and the Buffalo Bills. And we have Lakers basketball tonight on San Diego Sports 760 as the Lakers take on the Phoenix Suns. Devin Booker and Bradley Beal have both been ruled out for that game. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with Code Sports, because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details today.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Final hour of Jon and Jim from this gorgeous University Club high atop downtown San Diego. It is the first annual Top of the Key event being put on tonight by the Mesa Foundation. We've had Jeff Smith, the president of the Mesa Foundation, with us a number of times over the last year, and he's back with us right now. I'm Jon and Jim. And Jeff, we must say, joining you here tonight, this is just unbelievable and spectacular. What a venue to honor San Diego State men's basketball. And thanks for joining us here tonight.
It's great to be here with you in person, I think, for
It
the
is.
first
I know.
time.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the first time Jim and I have met face-to-face.
Yes.
So
I'm
great to
sorry.
sit here with
Is it everything that you for when you met me?
It's distracting, Jim.
I know. My future fiance, my future wife says.
Tell us about this event here tonight. Obviously, San Diego State coming off this run to a national championship game, ring ceremony for this team as well. You've got a lot of supporters that are supportive of the Mesa Foundation as well. So tell us about what tonight entails.
So we I think I was on a week or so ago with you guys. We talked a little bit about the focus on trying to enhance the relationship, the connection between the players, the coaches, the program, and the supporters of San Diego State basketball and the Mesa Foundation. It's one of the things that, with the introduction of NIL that has become acceptable. And so, we have a lot of people here in San Diego. We talked a little bit about it with a relatively limited sports town. There's a lot of love for San Diego State athletics and for the basketball team in particular. Last year certainly heightened the attention and the awareness to the Aztecs. So for us, tonight's an example of where we want to take Mesa Foundation. At its core, it's really about supporting NIL and supporting the student athletes and making sure that as a community who supports the Aztec basketball program, that we don't miss what I believe is our responsibility to make sure that what Coach Dutcher and Coach Fisher and Coach Velasquez and the rest of the coaching staff have done, bring that winning culture to the Mesa and to the program, isn't jeopardized by a lack of a supportive NIL program. And we thank people for their support. And today, I think, looking around here at the view from the University Club, which is something that you just don't get used to. It's only my third time or so in here. It's an amazing event. You're seeing the folks come in here, and we're excited to say thank you.
And for tonight in particular, you feel like this is, I mean, like a jumping off point for the future, but like this is the type of standard that you want to have for the Mesa Foundation going forward for San Diego State.
Yeah, last year we wanted to build something that was that existed and could respond, as I said, to the need to have something in place. As we built the program and the organization, and we've helped raise awareness through conversations with you guys and others. And now, last week was announced this partnership. We're an official NIL partner of San Diego State. That means a whole heck of a lot to us. It really, what it says is that San Diego State and the athletic department understands the absolute critical nature of a successful NIL platform, and they're appreciative of the version that we're doing. It's complementary to the program. It is very much team-oriented. San Diego is a community. We are really about bringing awareness to the need to support NIL, and the reality of the community's opportunity to step up and support this team and be a part, like events like this. We're gonna have a lot of them. This is our biggest event of the year. It's our first annual Top of the Key event, but we've had others, and we have more planned in the future that fans will be really, really excited about.
We may have asked you about this whenever it was, maybe a week or so ago, Jeff. Again, Jeff Smith, president of the Mesa Foundation, with us right now. I'm Jon and Jim, but Brian Dutcher has been quoted recently, and we just had him on 30 minutes ago or whatever, saying the relevancy of San Diego State's basketball into the future is dependent on the success of something like the Mesa Foundation and name, image, and likeness. So when our listeners hear something like that, I think for a lot of people, even myself, and I've worked in college athletics, it's still so new. Right. NIL, and people say, well, what can I do? What are we really talking about here? MesaFoundationSD.org is the site. And you can find out, whether it's whether you have a little bit or a lot, whatever you're able to do is helpful for something like the Mesa Foundation, which in turn is helpful for San Diego State basketball. Right?
That's exactly right. Yeah, I'm going to probably say the word community too many times, but for us, it's really about the strength of the support base of San Diego State and the basketball program. NIL is a really big subject, and for a lot of us that have been traditional college sports fans, it's a little bit off-putting, right? I mean, it's so new, but the reality is evidenced by all of the stories, some of which may be a bit exaggerated, but the NIL world has taken off at laser speed, and it is a supplement to an athletic department and the program's success. And unfortunately, or the reality, I should say, is that the school can't do anything about it. It's fundraising outside of the school. Yeah. And so the way that we've decided to approach it is, let's try to bring as many people in as possible. Let's make it accessible, to your point, John, financially for people to have experiences like tonight, to be a part of exclusive practices, meet and greets with the players, those kinds of things. There's a lot of them. If they go on our website, you already mentioned it, www.mesafoundationsd.org, you'll read the different levels that you can join at. And we're trying to make this community bond very easy for folks, but we really want to stress the reality of, if the community does not step up and help out financially, what we've experienced on the floor will change. Players have options, and the reality today is that NIL is part of the decision that they make on where they're going, whether they're going to stay. They want to be here. You watched that product on the court last year, guys. Players want to be here, but they have other decisions, other criteria that are part of that decisions. We can't let an ineffective, unsuccessful NIL program be a reason why they don't want to be in the best city in the country.
Where do you hope that the Mesa Foundation and this, whole thing is in, say, 4 years? Yeah,
there's so many moving parts to that, Jim. We have, and I think all of us are rooting for some kind of a definition in the marketplace. The extremes that exist, conference by conference, SEC, Big Ten, so on and so forth. They're to the extent that some of them are remotely true, are intimidating. But so I hope that there's some form of control that's brought in, whether that be legislative control or whether that be through the NCAA. We can't predict that. Yeah. What we have to do is make sure that what we have is complementary to the kind of program and the sort of athlete that decides to come play at San Diego State. And we're all proud of that. We're proud of the fact that this is a team-oriented program. We are focused on, I said it before, community. Our players are compensated. The way that they utilize their name, image, and likeness with the Mesa Foundation is by being part of real community events. We've partnered with organizations like Camp Pendleton on a camp for active duty military children. We partnered with Intertribal Sports and a camp that we held up at Pechanga with 200 kids. We had a blood drive on campus with San Diego Blood Bank, bringing awareness to sickle cell anemia. And I think, as I understood it, we set a 2-day record for donations on campus. Awesome. On and on and on. Folks maybe have seen the public service announcement that we did with the U.S. Attorney's Office, bringing awareness, right? You guys saw that.
Fentanyl, right?
Fentanyl and opioid. And the kind of response that we got, these are real efforts, real impact, changing the community, connecting the players with the community, but also changing these players as young men and women. I mean, think about the exposure that they have to giving back. You'll hear some about, you guys are sticking around, I know that. You'll hear something about that part of NIL and that part of Mesa tonight, and we're really proud of it.
Jeff, you're doing great work. I know it's happened in a short period of time, and the importance of NIL, again, is being orchestrated throughout the landscape of college basketball. But again, for our listeners, MesaFoundationSD.org is where you can check it out, and you can see ways that you can support San Diego State men's and women's basketball. Simple as that. MesaFoundationSD.org. We're thrilled for tonight, this top of the key event, honoring San Diego State's run to a national championship game in 2023. Jeff Smith is the president of the Mesa Foundation. And Jeff, thanks for doing it again.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Jeff Smith with us here from this spectacular setting in downtown San Diego. Thank you, Jeff, again. And we will be joined still ahead by Aguek Arop, who's going to join us around 5:30. We'll see if we can catch up with Jaden Ledee, potentially Darion Trammell and others. But
sounds like it's a party out there.
It does. It's beginning to pick up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure, because the last time we were out there was nobody there. I bet you when we go out now, it's going to be packed.
I think it will.
It's going to be fun. And
now, are you excited? So we're going to stick around for the event tonight, which is this banquet honoring San Diego State.
Yeah.
Now, you're not really an event banquet guy. Can I put you in that basket?
Why do you say that?
Because I've never been to any event with you.
Yeah, you have.
Have I?
Yeah.
Remember? Oh, we have on the Midway?
Yeah. Remember when
I was underdressed?
I don't know, won an award for best sports talk show in San Diego?
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay.
All right, stop burying the lead. What's for dinner?
That's a great question. That was my next question, Brent, because this is like top of the line here, right?
Do you think they have vegetarian for me?
I'm probably going out on a limb and saying that they're not going to be serving, like, I don't know, McDonald's or something.
No, I don't think so.
Score Jim.
I think it'll be good
for Jim.
2 steaks for me because you won't have a steak.
John's
You're going to have like the salad.
I'll have you the potatoes.
Sure.
Potentially.
Well, that's what we did last time we went to the Midway.
You can have Jim's sides.
Yeah, you didn't eat the steak, which was delicious, and you just ate like the vegetables.
My bad.
Soft.
All right, we're going to get back to it again. We're celebrating San Diego State's run to a national championship game tonight at this really unique event put on by the Mesa Foundation. We'll be joined by some additional Aztec players coming up this hour. We're also keeping an eye on the Padres managerial search, which is now underway here in downtown San Diego at Petco Park. We know that A.J. Preller yesterday said the process has begun. We know it's been reported by both Kevin Acee and Dennis Lin that Mike Schilt and Ryan Flaherty will interview for the job. Jim, you kind of joked earlier because Dennis talks about it, that interview process actually might have began in 2023 during the baseball season.
It sounded like it because when Dennis was on today with Darren, he mentioned, yeah, there's already been discussions with these 2 candidates about, hey, potentially if you were the manager, how would you have handled this situation? While Bob Melvin was still the manager.
Yeah, that is weird to me.
Weird. That's the definition of dysfunction, by the way.
It is, right?
Like, you label this organization as dysfunctional, and anybody asks you, why is it dysfunctional?
How would you manage this spot, Ryan?
Right.
Like, that's not why. What are you asking?
Like, it's just it's comical how those things are happening while there's already a manager in place. And the fact that now these 2 guys have stuck around and potentially could take that spot, 1, good for them, but 2, it doesn't feel like the greatest, you know? It doesn't feel like right.
No, it doesn't. And I'm wondering, was Bob aware of that, by the way? If Dennis is reporting it, Bob's aware of it, right?
John, I bet you. Remember the day, and I have it, I forget what the day it was. I think it might have been end of June or something.
June 27th.
Okay. But remember when there was a report of Ryan Flaherty potentially could be the new manager to take over Bob Melvin?
I do remember that.
I bet you that was maybe around the time that there was these, hey, if you were the manager, Ryan, what would you have done?
Right. And it wasn't who reported yesterday, or was it 2 days ago, that the Padres considered moving on from Melvin during the season?
That was, I forget who that was. In season?
Remember,
that
it
was Kevin. I think it was Kevin.
Maybe. I know Ben Fadden had it on social, but that just happened this week as well. That the Padres considered moving on from Bob Melvin in season in 2023.
Dude, this whole thing.
But that speaks to what Dennis was saying.
Yeah, like instability, dysfunction, backstabbing. That's where we're at. And I think all Padres want to feel like is, can we just get away from all of that crap? And can we just focus on the field? Because 2022 was awesome. Even though there was still like stuff going on behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like for the first time in forever that.
Was that a singing? What were you doing? Yeah. What's that from?
I think it's from a Disney show.
Brent, do you know what that is?
It's about to be from a future promo.
Yeah. First time in forever.
The first time in forever.
Is that from
it's from a movie, Disney movie.
Yeah, which one?
I think Frozen.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not
Unbelievable.
Sure,
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
All right. We have Reese Waters.
Speaking to saving the day.
That is going to join us here on Jon and Jim. Reese, how are you? Good to see you. Nice to meet you.
How you doing, man?
Appreciate you hopping on. Joining us here, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. What a night this is. University Club, downtown San Diego, the first annual Top of the Key event being put on by the Mesa Foundation. Reese, what's this like for you? I mean, getting acclimated to the San Diego State program, you know, this team tonight kind of looking back at last year, but obviously we're just a few days out from next year. So what's this been like for you, getting acclimated to this program and experiencing something like tonight?
It's pretty cool. I came on my visit. I came with Tony Bland and my family, and we saw the event that you guys had at the football.
Yeah,
that's right.
It was pretty cool, and to see everybody here to support. What happened last year. It was a historic run. They had a great season. But we had a conversation in the locker room, after practice, talking about how it's great to look back at last season and what they did, but it's approaching, and we have a whole new continue to run and get better.
And I want to go back to the recruiting process to get you here to San Diego State. You mentioned it was going around on social media that when you saw Matt Bradley and the emotion that he had after the national championship game, like that really stuck with you. Was that the true, like, okay, I made my choice, I'm going there moment?
Yeah,
to pick San Diego State.
Yeah, I forgot how I seen it. I know I wasn't on my social media much when I was in the transfer portal, but I think either my mom or my father had sent it to me, and after that, I was kind of like, okay, because the relationship that he had, obviously, with the program and how everybody connected with him and understood him, I think it was a great fit for me.
Were you, as a recruit, and San Diego State's in the Final Four, and Lamont's hitting that shot? Were you watching that game? Are you watching that live? Where were you when San Diego State made it to a national championship game?
I remember seeing that he made the shot.
Yeah.
I know I didn't see it live, but I remember seeing it, if not right after he made it. So that was pretty cool.
When you think Reese Waters is with us again, the SC transfer to San Diego State, you mentioned how, Matt Bradley's kind of passionate plea for the program played a role in you choosing San Diego State. When you think about how you're going to fit on floor with the Aztecs this season, how do you envision your role, and what have you been told from these coaches in terms of how they're going to use you?
Well, I know that, I can score the ball.
Yeah.
I can get my teammates involved as well. I've matured on the court in terms of making the right decisions and making the right reads. But obviously, I got to make an impact on the defensive end first, which is something that I'm getting a lot better at, and I'm starting to really understand and embrace, and just trying to get better every day. But I think on the offensive end, I can help with scoring, getting to the basket, making plays for others as well, and the defensive end, using my length for advantages on the defensive end.
How has been the transition going in here and practices? You guys had a recent scrimmage recently. What's it been like for you to be on the court and essentially, like, okay, maybe hopefully down the road, like you're going to be a go-to guy for this team. Like that role for you, how's that been?
It's been pretty good. I'm blessed to be in this position where everybody trusts me with the shots that I take, the decisions that I make. In the transition, especially with the defensive part and just playing harder, playing with more effort, and just knowing certain things on the court, the detail that they play with, and they try to instill in us every day is pretty different than what I've been accustomed to. But I think I'm adjusting well, and I think I'm doing pretty good.
You had to be a huge priority for Brian Dutcher and his staff, considering that, correct me if I'm wrong, in Houston, between games and practices, they were communicating with you about the upcoming season, right? I mean, so this was something that was going on literally while the team was in Houston playing for the Final Four. What did that mean to you and your family, knowing the priority that you were for San Diego State?
Yeah, well, I got recruited by San Diego State my junior year, so I kind of had built a relationship up to that point. But it's pretty cool to see coaches hitting you up in between games. They could be scouting for the game or whatever, but they take time to just check off what I'm doing and just be able to talk to them.
What was it that SC asked you to do as a player that now will evolve here at San Diego State? Like when you think about your role last year at SC to your expected role at San Diego State, how does that change for you?
I think it's definitely different in the fact that they'll trust me with the ball more and want me to have the ball in my hands more. Not saying that SC, didn't want me to have the ball, but there was times where we had other guys who could score as well. So I had to, play with a limited option at the SC, but I think here I'll have a more predominant role in terms of scoring and just my input in what they expect.
Who, I guess, on this team, have you played with all of these guys before, like before coming here, or it was just like a whole new,
it was
all new?
Yeah, completely.
Who on the team so far in practice and in scrimmages and obviously has surprised you the most? Like, whoa, I didn't know that he had that type of game.
I can't even pick one particular person. I would say because I've never played with or against anybody.
Okay.
That was on the team. Lamont, I played my freshman year at SC.
Okay.
We played against San Diego State.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember that game.
Yeah.
But other than Lamont, I haven't played with and didn't really know anybody else, so it was kind of a shocker. I would say Mike is the person I like playing against in practice when we get to compete against each other just because of his competitive edge and how he plays.
So that's like a huge thing, because I feel like when in the transfer portal, when you go somewhere, it's like, oh, I've played with this person before, either like an AAU or played against them. So for you to not make a leap of faith, but to come here and put, play with people that you've never played with before, like that's a big thing for you, right?
Yeah, it was definitely a way I had to mature in terms of just not knowing anybody and coming into a new environment, having to really establish myself and let people know who I am and be embracing of everybody else too.
How much are you looking forward to everything that's to come? I mean, every year is a journey, and every season is different. But even like an opening night, you'll have an exhibition game, but opening night Viejas Arena in about 10 days. Like, have you allowed your mind to wander to what that experience is going to be like for you?
Yeah, I think about it.
Yeah,
but I try to take every day at a time.
Yeah,
just get better. But I'm very excited for the season.
We're excited.
We are too.
We are really excited. Reese, Aztec fans are thrilled to have you here. We're excited for the upcoming year. I mean, you just think about the schedule too, and you've been through it obviously in the Pac-12, but with the BYUs and the Gonzagas and the St. Mary's and just the opportunities ahead. And then the Mountain West obviously is a unique league that you're going to get to go through here in 2023-24. So congratulations on all your successes to this point. We're looking forward to seeing you here on the Mesa. Thank you for joining us here tonight.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, Reese Waters, Aztec fans are excited to have the SC transfer here in San Diego. We appreciate you joining us here today on Jon and Jim. All right, more to get to here on the other side. I believe Aguek Arop, AG, San Diego State. What a role he played, obviously, last year and over the last 5 years. He's now on the Aztecs coaching staff. He's going to join us coming up. We'll see if we can connect with Jaden Ledee potentially in the next 40 minutes as well. We are at the University Club. This is downtown San Diego. Aztecs basketball team is being honored tonight. The top of the key Aztec event put on by the Mesa Foundation, a ring ceremony as well. Aguek Arop, one of the greats in the history of San Diego State men's basketball, will join us next right here on Jon and Jim. All right, one of the great Aztecs of all time, Aguek Arop, on that national championship game team. He will join us on the other side of this break. Stay with us.
All right, this update is brought to you by DraftKings Fantasy Sports. NFL Week 7 underway between the Buccaneers and the Buffalo Bills. Right now, it is scoreless in the first quarter there. And tonight, Lakers and Suns. You can hear that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. Devin Booker and Bradley Beal are both out tonight for the Suns. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with Code Sports, because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is all yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details today.
Jon and Jim back with you here at the University Club downtown San Diego. It's going to be a special night for San Diego State basketball fans. The Aztecs being honored with a ring ceremony after reaching a national championship game. That's right, a national championship game a year ago. A big reason why Aguek Arop, one of the all-time favorites on the Mesa. He's joining us right now. He's on the staff of Brian Dutcher, Director of Player Development for Brian Dutcher. Yes, Coach. That's right. Yeah. Hey, G, how are you, man? Great to see you.
I'm doing well. First of all, thanks, Jon and Jim, for having me. And I'm doing great. It's a great opportunity to celebrate this past year for the last time.
Yes.
And, get our rings, get our banner. It'll be great.
All right, so speaking of last year, I'm curious, like, how often have you watched the play in which you get a stop along with Nathan, and then Lamont, of course, hits the shot against FAU? Is this something you've seen a million times, or is it something you haven't really watched much at all over the last 6 months?
I was unintentionally, I've seen it a million times because it's everywhere. Yep. Everyone's showing me like I wasn't there or something. But yeah, I've seen it a million times unintentionally. But sit back and think about it. I've done it only a couple of times. Just think about just how monumental I was, and yeah, it hasn't fully sunk in quite yet.
Take me through this play again, because again, FAU, they had these really talented guards who were getting downhill for most of the game. FAU was in a really good position. They led for most of the game, even late on that possession. They're leading by a point. What are you thinking as a defender in that spot? You got this offensive player coming downhill. You're not trying to commit a foul. What's going through your mind in that moment?
Yeah, well, before the play even started, I knew he was their go-to guy. And so we've watched there were a couple games even in that tournament where they won a last second shot. I remember for sure it was against Memphis,
right?
And I believe there was another team, and watched some games from their conference season. And one of the things I know he liked to do, and he does at a high level, is finish left. Even though he's right-handed, he loved to go left. And so I was just playing that left-hand drive, cut him off. He went right and cut that off too. And so he didn't. Yeah, and it worked perfectly.
It didn't work out perfectly.
Yeah.
So on that play there, did you block that shot?
Yes.
You tipped it.
Yeah, I nicked it.
You nicked it. You felt a little bit of a nick there, because I feel like people during the play happening, I don't know if people realize that you did alter that shot to the point where like you tipped it there,
because it went straight off the backboard. Shot at least it'll go towards the rim, but
right. So
backboarding off.
Yeah, so it just shows like that play, the whole dynamic of you tipping the ball, Nathan getting it, the outlet to Lamont, and him almost stepping out of bounds and then hitting that shot.
And honestly, it's better than a clean block. It's a clean block, it might go out of bounds.
Right.
It might go into one of the offensive players' hands. And so it worked out perfectly.
What happened? Aguek Arop is with us. He's now on San Diego State's staff, one of the most likable players in the history of San Diego State men's basketball, joining us right now on Jon and Jim. Do you feel as if, with the benefit of hindsight, once you won the first tournament game, and this is in your 5th year, and you beat Charleston in a really good game that took all 40 minutes, did that kind of just take the pressure off?
Oh, 100%. The first game, I think for any team, it's the hardest. But for us, just knowing our history, the past couple years, we lost first round.
Yep.
And everyone's just kind of expecting us to lose again. And so we didn't want to let anyone down. We didn't let our fans down. We didn't let ourselves down or Coach Dutch down. And so once we won that first game, we all just took a sigh of relief. And we just got rolling after that. We didn't think anyone could beat us.
Transitioning to this year, AG, for you, I mean, this is a whole new role that you're doing. Do you feel like not more relaxed, but the feeling of going into this season where you're not going to be playing, you're going to be on the bench. How is that going to affect you in different ways emotionally?
I mean, one of the biggest things is, as a player, everyone has stressors. Everyone has, just pregame jitters. And one of the benefits of actually playing, you get to go out there and run it off.
Yeah.
But as a coach, I experienced it really for the first time not for the first time, but against ASU. Or just being on the bench is not one. You just want to go out there and you want to do it, or you just want to help. I don't know. And so, or we get down, or something exciting happens. It's just all these emotions that usually you release when you're out there running and sweating. That just kind of builds up. But it's a new experience, a new way of seeing the game, and I'm enjoying it. But one of the things about coaching, it's highly rewarding, and so being able to tell somebody this, and then they go out there and they fix it, whatever it may be, and just, I don't know, seeing the success, the kind of almost immediate success, or even having to go back and work on things for a while, and then just seeing it all come to fruition. It's been great.
Have you taken anybody like under your wing here, like anybody on the team? You mentioned coaching is becoming very gratifying for you.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say anyone specifically at the moment, but I've just been trying to help out just like Miles, Heidi, and Elijah Saunders a lot, just because they'll be playing the 4th spot, and I just have a lot of experience there, and so just trying to help them out a lot. But the bigs in general, I've been helping out a lot. But if there were any two, probably maybe those two.
Aguek Arop is with us right now. San Diego State men's basketball for 5 years on the Aztecs, one of the winningest players in the history of the program. Played, of course, in the national championship game last year for San Diego State as well. What do you think of this team? I mean, we've only had the closed-door scrimmage, but you've been with them, obviously, throughout the course of the summer. What do you make? It's way different. Nathan, a number of others, but that is college basketball. You went through different versions of San Diego State during your time. So what do you think of this team and its capabilities?
Yeah, I mean, for one, we lost a lot of pieces. Last year we were old, so we had a lot of program guys. And so with that, there's a lot of luxury, at least from the coaching end, of not having to coach as many players and also having the players coach. And so losing that, it requires a lot more work from everybody. Even we have 4 return guys that really played, and maybe only one of them has been here over 2 years, And so, it's just a lot of coaching. And so this team, we're extremely gifted. We're talented, and so I like the team, especially after ASU scrimmage. We saw what they're capable of, and so Dutch always says you never know how the team's going to be to go out there, and we're actually playing. And so the team definitely has the pieces. That has the it has all the parts to make a really good team. And win. Well, Dutch always says win. We don't know, but will we be really good? We will know. Aztec basketball always plays their best in March, and so that's our goal at the end of the day.
Tonight, this event, it's pretty special that it's, being put on by the Mesa Foundation, and you guys get more rings. I see you're wearing the Final Four ring there. There we go. Final Four ring. You get the rings tonight from like the San Diego State rings. Like for you, and I'm sure you already saw the Final Four banner, which is in the other room there.
Yeah.
For you, like, what emotions do you get when you get a ring, you see a banner? I know it's going to probably feel different on opening night as well. Yeah. And then you get the ring tonight. Like, what emotions do you have?
I mean, it's just a lot of joy coming over me. You think about all it's kind of this culmination of my whole career. Just, I don't know, not only me personally, but a lot of guys, their careers mimic the same pattern of just, starting off slow or having the setbacks throughout their career, and being able to not only make it in a tournament, but make it all the way to the national championship. You look back and you look at all the times you failed. You look back at all the conversations that you had, and whether it was coaches, with players, your family. You look back on the conversations you had with yourself. Just how disappointing things can be, but also you also look back at the goals you set. Like, no matter how low it gets, you still aim for the top. And so being able to, obviously we didn't win it all, but making all the way to national champions is a huge accomplishment in itself. And so when we receive all the rings, the banner, and another ring, it's it's just a lot of joy that comes over you. All these experiences hit you all at once, and so then you just look to your brothers who have gone through the same thing, and it's just pure joy.
San Diego State's Aguek Arop is with us right now on Jon and Jim. Does last year's run help you stomach 30-2 in a different way? The 30-2 season. Now, some of your teammates, of course, weren't with you when you made a national championship game. So I don't know what that experience has been like for them. Malachi, Yanni, KJ Fagan, and others. But what's it been like for you as a player? I mean, you'll never know. That team could have been a Final Four team as well. We'll never know.
Yeah, you never know. A lot of what ifs, but just knowing that playing with those guys during that year, developed great relationships with Yanni, KJ, Malachi, Jordan, Matt, all those guys. And so while we were making the run, I know me, Nate, Adam, all the guys that played with them, we'd reach out to those guys and be like, this is for you guys, like another win, like that's awesome. We're looking to make we make it all the way to the Final Four. And it's also great for the program because it's all what ifs, Yeah. We believe we're one of the top programs in the country. And so 30-2, that was the year we were going to show we believe we're going to show ourselves, but woulda, coulda, shoulda. Yep. So being able to do it just 3 years later, I don't know, it just proves us right.
Yeah, it does. No doubt about it. AG, congratulations on the next step in your journey, all of the successes in the past as a player, and now all your future successes as a coach as well with the Aztecs. It's amazing to see you. Enjoy tonight. You deserve it, and thank you for joining us tonight.
Appreciate you, Jon and Jim. Always love being on you.
Thanks, we appreciate it. Aguek Arop, one of the greats.
Thank you, guys.
One of the greats.
Thank you.
One of the all-time greats at San Diego State, joining us here on Jon and Jim. We'll take a timeout. On the other side, we'll be joined by another Aztec. We'll find out who. We're at the University Club downtown San Diego. Stay with us on Jon and Jim. Hey guys, it's Schaefer. I've been telling you now for the better part of the last couple of months about our friends over at Windmill Farms. I was just over there last week meeting with their owner, Trevor. Just ran into him, ran into his mom over there as well. It's amazing to hear about their long-time relationship with the grocery business here in San Diego. They love supporting local. I've told you about Mr. G Salsa, based here in San Diego, delivering and stocking their amazing salsa each and every week. And I go over there during the work week to pick up a sandwich because your 8th sandwich is free with the sandwich card. They've got an amazing selection. Their prices are extremely low. They use high-quality ingredients. It's a great place to get your weekend started as well. All your game day needs are available over at the College Area's natural grocer, Windmill Farms. They've got you covered, whether it's the organic farm fresh produce and meats, the sandwiches we've been telling you about, their amazing craft beer selection. They're centrally located off Del Cerro Boulevard, right across the freeway from Montezuma Mesa. They've been family-owned for over 20 years in San Diego. Their weekly specials are always available online at windmillfarmsmarket.com. I do want to remind you, if you don't live or work near Del Cerro, it's not a problem. You can find Windmill Farms on Instacart, have your groceries delivered directly to your doorstep. It's an amazing place that supports local businesses, whatever it is. And again, if you're looking to shop somewhere during your work week for lunch or your weekends getting ready for your game day needs, make sure to shop locally and shop at Windmill Farms. We're out of final time here on Jon and Jim. A reminder, we've got these tickets to give away. In fact, caller 5, they are yours. We've got 2 tickets to Vets Aid, the concert at North Island Credit Union Amphitheater, November 12th. Tickets available at livenation.com. Again, Vets Aid, November 12th, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Call 844-570-1360. That is 844-570-1360. Caller 5, they are yours. Jon and Jim with you a final time here. Hyatt Top downtown, University Club, top of the key event, first annual. It is sold out, put on by the Mesa Foundation. This has been cool. We've had Dutch and Lamont and Reese Waters and Aguek Arop. We'll see if we can catch up with Jaden Ledee or Darion Trammell for a moment coming up as well. But this has been fun. I'm looking forward to tonight.
Yeah, this is talking to Jeff about this is the type of standard you want to set. And we haven't been out there, but we've seen kind of like
sounds cool
how it's going to look, and it sounds cool. I saw Uncle Teddy walking around the corner.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Ted.
Yeah, they had red carpet downstairs. You want to have these events because you want your program to be a top level program, and these type of events and these things put on by the Mesa Foundation helps your program be a top level program. I'd be curious. I was thinking in my head. And I was the start of this season and whatnot, but like, does Dutch invite anybody here as far as like recruiting goes? Is anybody here on the recruiting trail? Because he's always recruiting, and you're always doing that in college athletics. And for events like these, you want to bring them to the nicest events that you have. Like say, hey, you come to San Diego State, you're going to be a part of this type of thing. You're going to be a part of that.
You heard
what
Reese said. Reese was at the Snapdragon Stadium celebration.
Yeah.
On a recruiting visit.
Yep.
And actually mentioned to Darnay Tripp, our buddy,
Who?
on Sports Wrap. Who is he? He mentioned that played a role. He said the combination of what Matt Bradley said, seeing the support that night where there's like 6,000-7,000 people. It's like Easter weekend.
Yeah.
7,000-8,000 people.
I was there. You were emceeing.
Yeah, I was emceeing. He said that played a role in his decision to come here.
That was the night that Aaron said, yes, you have to officiate our wedding.
Oh, great. Great.
So congratulations.
Now I have to worry about that for the next 7 months.
Yeah. What will be more stressful for you? emceeing that event in front of 7,000 people?
That event. But I don't really want to screw up your wedding. But then again, I don't want to do it because of Aaron. Like,
right.
I'm not worried about.
You have way more respect for her than me.
No, it's not that. It's just guys, like, having gotten married, like, your wedding day, you haven't been thinking about it since you were 6 years old.
No.
Aaron probably has.
Dude.
Or 10, or,
She, she got her wedding dress and everything. And that's, now we're obviously moving this weekend, so that's like top of her mind. But
right.
After we move in, it is wedding 150% of the way.
All right, let's get Jaden Ledee in here for a couple of minutes.
Okay.
Played such a pivotal role for San Diego State last year. We're excited to have him back here on the Mesa again. Jaden, good to see you. Jon and Jim with you. He's going to get set up over here at the University Club, downtown San Diego, for this first annual Top of the Key event. Yeah, these chairs really do.
Yeah.
Go back. Jaden, it's great to see. How cool is this? Again, you're looking ahead, like you're only 10 days out from the opener, but how cool is this to be recognized for what happened last year?
Oh, it's really fun. I mean, I'm glad I can celebrate with these guys, and the new guys can see, what winning and what we do here brings. And I'm just glad to celebrate. Nathan's here, so that's awesome.
Amazing.
Oh, it's great. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't think we've talked. Maybe we talked to you one time since the national championship game, but your summer in general, going through the NBA process to making the decision to come back, and this team having a lot of players returning. Talk about your summer and essentially how fast it's gone for you.
Oh, I mean, I told somebody the other day, like, I mean, I feel like you never really have a summer. I feel like it's just all one, just long, just,
right.
Just
You're always working.
Always working. So, I mean, I just was really working on my game all summer, tighten things up, add new things, and just really enjoying San Diego. So,
Jaden Ledee is with us back on the Mesa here for 2023-24. Jaden, I feel like a lot of people remember a year ago in the FAU game, everyone says, well, Jaden hit that, free throw line jumper before Lamont shot. But then I think people forget that it was also maybe it wasn't the possession before, but the points prior, you kind of drove in on their center and scored there as well. You had some pivotal plays down the stretch against FAU. What did that mean to you to be counted on in such a large role in such a big game in your hometown of Houston, of all places?
Yeah.
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, credit to the coaching staff. They have a lot of trust in me
yeah.
and, my abilities. So for him to put me in that situation is, awesome and just speaks volumes about them. And then just being at home was awesome. I mean, it could have been anywhere. It would have been awesome, but just for it to be in Houston was incredible.
And, when you see the banner, you get the rings, you're going to get another ring tonight. What type of emotions does that bring back to you as far as what you guys accomplished last year?
I mean, it's awesome. I mean, like you said, we're always in work mode, so I feel like you don't really take time to, you know, enjoy what you really did. So just for tonight to be what it is, and I know we got the Final Four rings first, but I mean, we couldn't even made it that far. We didn't win the Mountain West.
Right.
What's the evolution of your game look like for you as you go from where you were a year ago with the Aztecs to what you're going to be asked to do this year? How excited are you to continue to grow?
I was awesome. I mean, I think, you know, coaches asked a lot more from me. You know, we had a lot of great guys leave. So, you know, my role is kind of expanded, just kind of more offensive versatility, and then just being a leader, you know, trying to lead these guys every day and practicing in games.
How do you feel about this year's team? You guys got a lot of new faces, but you also have a lot of returning people here. For you, I know you have a scrimmage already, which I'm sure was nice to play against some other players besides just you guys. But how do you feel about this team going into this season?
I feel good. I mean, he's a great group of guys. And one thing about us, we're going to compete every night. No matter, you know, shots are falling or not, we're going to compete and give it all our best.
Jaden, it's amazing to see you, man. We're excited for, well, the exhibition game coming up against San Marcos, the opener coming up in about a week and a half at Viejas Arena. Enjoy this with your teammates. You got to be thrilled to see what the ring looks like, right?
Yes, sir. Coach Dave already been speaking about it, so I'm ready to see
Hyping it up a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Can't wait for that.
All right. Congratulations again. Thanks for joining us for a couple of minutes.
Thank you.
Jaden Ledee, San Diego State, outstanding five-man power forward center, whatever role he's going to fill for the Aztecs here in 2023-24, joining us here on Jon and Jim. Really, really cool event. We're excited for this tonight. Richard Stern, San Diego State, thank you for arranging all this. Seriously.
Round of applause for Richard. There
Brian Dutcher and Lamont and Reese and AG and Jaden. We talked to Jeff Smith from the Mesa Foundation. It's been a really fun afternoon here from the University Club.
It's been great. We need to do our show from here every day.
Every day.
I mean, the views are perfect, and this is awesome.
All right, I think the music's playing.
That's playing. The music is playing.
All right, let's get ready for tonight. If you missed anything today, sportssd.com, iHeartRadio app, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Spotify. You can find us on social media at Jon and Jim. We're back tomorrow at 3 for Brent in the studio. Great job, Brent. And for Jim, I'm Jon. Keep it here. It's San Diego Sports 760.
Okay, peace out. Bye.